Hey everyone, I'm Tassenix, and welcome to Plotting and Scheming, the Grand Arena focused podcast centered around the top 100 of Kyber 1 for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. I am joined by my regular co-hosts, Dagger, TJ, Sasha Aisha, and Fatal. Gentlemen, we are in the in-between time. It is the preview episode for season 78 3 versus 3. How's everybody doing? Dagger, what's going on with you?
Fresh-ish off vacation. Back in reality sucks. Reality's still better than Ohio, to be clear. Sorry to everybody who lives in Ohio. But yeah, other than that, I'm doing great. Yeah.
All right. TJ, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I kind of just the Great Reckoning to see what we get into for next week.
It's a bit of a frenzy, farming things up. Sasha Aisha, how is it going on your side?
Can't talk now. Rolling for defense. Sorry, what was that, Tass?
Oh man, that's.
I'm just kidding. I am rolling for defense crons in this set.
Tass, you won't face Sasha anyway. It doesn't matter. He'll get and you'll see him in the bracket above.
It's unlikely. It is unlikely that we will never meet over the course of the next 3 months. But I honestly almost hope so, because I am not. I am not getting good rolls for the crons that I'm going for that aren't defense. I haven't even made a specific effort of making a bunch of defense stack crons yet, and I already know how screwed my luck is right now. So,
how the hell do you guys get defense? I didn't even know this was in the set, man. This is bullshit.
It's I think it's a premium pack. You have to click the
defense. Oh, shit! So, now I get it.
$9.99 per try.
$9.99. You're full of shit. We've moved up, sir. It's 2026. It's already $9.99 for the premium pack. We don't play with that cheap shit anymore.
Well, we'll hand it over to Fatal in a sec. But how am I doing? In short, I am reinvigorated by defense stat being there in a set, or I don't know, like at least reactivated. I don't know if I'm necessarily enthusiastic about it, but I do want to. I do want defense as a stat, and so I'm chasing that. That's how I'm doing, Tess.
Sounds great. Last but never least, Fatal, how is the off-season treating you?
I am pretty much decided that I think I'm done chasing defense. This shit is not good.
Like you mean defense rolls on the new set?
Yep. I took 27 crowns up to level 8, and only 3 of them had defense on the level 7 or level 8 stats. And yeah, I don't know. That shit ain't worth it. I'm like, look, man, if someone's going to spend $2,000 to get a bunch of defense crons, I guess you're the better player, man.
We were all foiled by set 25. This is part of the letting go. This is part of recognizing we're back to mortal.
Defense sets have never been this bad for me.
I'm just saying, in terms of stat distribution, like I do feel pretty bad about getting defense. Yes.
Plus, also the fact that now that it's down to a 1-month format, I feel like, yeah, it's in some ways this is healthier. That it's not like, okay, well, I have 28 days worth of conquest to just like endlessly throw refreshes at it. I feel like I'm actually like, all right, motherfucker, you're not gonna have 30 defense crowns this set. Figure out you actually have to play the video game. Like when we last spoke, I was very much in the mode of like, well, what am I doing this season? I'm just filling in everything that had set 25 with the defense cron. And like, no, you are not. Actually, it turns out.
Like, allow me to correct you,
what
sir.
happened is CJ heard you, Fatal. CG heard your cries of I'm going to do this, and they said, hold my beer.
I think I am going to have a better time with the game if the answer is no, you are not. And again, like I am sure some people have endless money to say, yeah, I am. And
honestly, cool. I don't think it's somewhere around like in a legitimate top 20. So I would say somewhere within the top 50. That's when you're going to see like every team on defense probably start to have, defense crons. That's what I would expect as far as the ones that make sense over anything else. That's what I would expect. Outside of that, I would expect them to pick and choose like you're saying. But there's still going to be crazy-ass fucking Krakens that are going to go for it. I see them. They're there.
Sasha.
Gesundheit.
We've come past the part where the joke I was trying to land is going to work.
Oh,
but Sasha, you know as well as I do that we raised small ones through the Frozen era. We should be well equipped to just let things go.
Oh,
well put. Yeah, I did live through that and the long tail merchandising phase that came after it. So yes.
Yeah.
I gotta ask, Dagger, was this joke the one that you decided to tell in lieu of the better one that you felt was no longer, in time?
Yes. I had a better joke, but it would just fall flat because I started to say it and you guys were talking. It's like, you know what? I won't interrupt this time.
Gotta keep that day job, man.
That being said, I am with Fatal on this to a degree because I think I have one roll of defense on my Vaincron and it's like the level 2. And I'm not all that incentivized, and after reading my guild chat, I'm just like, I don't even know how much I want to re-roll this bitch.
What I like is all of you, the three of you, are in the same guild. So Sasha can post his high defense Kron, and then the middle fingers that will pop up in Discord. I look forward to that image. That's going to be great.
That needs to get.
He needs all the defense he can get to fight Erodians. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
that's the whole picture, right? That's how CG gets you.
Yeah, Sasha doesn't brag in guild, thankfully. Otherwise, a lot more people would be upset with him.
Very fair.
Sometimes an Erodian will, do their one battle against his teams, and he'll see the protection bar chip down slightly from the one battle, and you said, "This cannot stand."
Son of a bitch.
400% defense on everything. Your preload will. It's like you were never there. Leave me forever.
Truly, actually, a reasonable strategy would be to check out the Phantom's Menace guys, because if you're going to talk about somebody that's going to prioritize getting the most out of the fewest Krons that really need that defense, they'd have a strong pulse on that. Legitimate.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I'm still not convinced that they're not the same person.
They may well be. But
I'm still not convinced they're good players.
I'm sure that they're all excellent human beings.
Good can definitely be qualified a number of ways. What you can't say is that they're not effective, right?
Yeah.
They are effective. And I don't particularly enjoy the way that they play and the way that it often forces me to play. But I can't deny results, man. No.
Yeah.
Anyways.
There's a reason why they're punching up, and we on this show we generally talk about the 3 or 4 that are in the top the top 50 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There's Phantom's Menace guys in Kyber 1 that are punching up 2.5 mil, doing similar things, man. They just don't have the heft to get up to where the other ones are, but they still are doing, what they're doing down there. I fought one in at 700, and I looked at his history, and then I set 60 Ls or something. He full cleared me, averaging 63.5, and I was barely able to beat him. I'm like, checked again. That guy's 12.8 million. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. That's one thing that's going to be tougher to do here in the near future. Is without the perfect Krons, it's tough to stretch out and dilute the effect of Relic Delta. So we'll see how those guys hold up here in the near future.
Yeah.
But anyways, guys, let's go ahead and dig into the agenda. First up, as always, preparations for week 1, remods and relics. I did apply Relic 10 on who? Most recently, I want to say I did Vayne here to capture the full benefit of the Kron, which we will be talking about. I also did DVDE today because I found that with a little extra pushing on the mods, I was able, in a crit damage and health set, to have him at 97,000 health, 278 speed. Gonna try and maybe land a couple lucky calibrates. We'll see if I can push up over 280. That's where I'd prefer to be, but not essential. And then I was able to hit 12k offense at just about 85% crit chance, and of course you'll have the 25% from hatred. Little bit more armor penetration, I believe we got from it. Is that a fact? Yep, it was. So yeah, all that much more. Little bit more dangerous. I'm okay with it. As far as other ones, Remods. Yeah, I was telling you guys last episode that I was thinking about increasing the crit chance on BT1. I did, 77 to 82, while still basically keeping everything within 1% of where it was. Got it. All right, you guys badgered me. That's the way I'm preferring to remember it, and I won't hear otherwise. Last episode about Queen Amidala. She is overhauled now into health. 121,000 health, 73,000.
We twisted your arm at Pew Pew Point.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. Pistol in between the eyes of my dog threatened me in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So we kept her still 350 speed, which is actually, I think, a little faster than she was in the Pro setup. And we did lose a little bit of armor, but I will tell you this: in TB, I can really feel the difference of not having the proc, because that decoy goes down significantly. I don't know how much difference that's really going to make in Grand Arena, but I definitely made the swap. I definitely made the swap in taking your point that the biggest and best matchup that I'm usually doing with this team is going to be Ray, and Ray is uniquely qualified to punish me for any type of protection setup. So, fair. Let's see. Was there anything else? Ooh, a whole bunch of tune-ups, actually. Probably another dozen or so characters just got some tuning, mods moved around, but it's been a productive week, because at least Dagger knows I am, like, especially on days where I have time working from home, I'll be tinkering on and off of this stuff all day. So a whole bunch of stuff has been adjusted. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention is I did prepare a set here for Bastila. So I have the option to swap into a a speed arrow with a strong protection and defense secondary, and that would put me at plus 177 speed. So I have that option, but this is the 4 prop primary option that I can.
Let me make sure I'm asking. You said Bastila. You meant Satil, right? I'm assuming you're saying
yes. Sorry.
For Satil,
correct. You got me dead to rights. That's exactly what I meant. I meant Satil. So this is the set I've been preparing for her. So I have the option to go over 170 if I want, at the cost of some protection. But it's going to be a monster when we go live. And I'd say that's it. I'll talk about the Datacrons when we get to talking about it. How about you, Dagger? What have you been cooking up?
Well, first I have a couple of soapbox moments I can either do now or like after we're doing.
No time like the present. I mean, is it germane to the topic?
One of them yes, one of them no.
Knock them out. Knock yourself out.
All right. Well, first off, the mod packs are back in the store, and I, for one, am happy. Maybe not happy, but will begrudgingly pay $10 for those crit damage triangles.
The offense mods are dope too.
Yeah, well, the crit damage triangles on the offense and the crit damage set, it's offense, crit chance, speed. So it's like,
wait, is it just the same mods again?
Yeah. I think so.
Weird.
I think there might be a couple different shapes.
I already bought the offense ones, but here's the crit damage ones. I'm also considering the speed ones because they've got really nice setup this time.
But, yeah, so basically, I think they changed the stat profile slightly on a couple of different sets.
I think that's fair. But like a couple of them look like the offense ones in particular look really familiar.
Yeah.
So anyways, the offense crit damage look the same.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyways, I was just going to point that out. So for the people who are into such things,
look at that.
Those crit damage triangles, again, it's kind of shitty that they're selling them to us for $10 a pop, but the triangles alone are probably worth the money. If that's something you're into. The other one is, just a quick reminder to everyone, this era has a soft reset midway through. When they release Dedra, all of the previous 3 characters you worked on will not, I don't think they'll be in Coliseum. Right? Because these 3 characters were with Saw. And they had a 5.
They move over to just ISB then?
I think when the next character comes out, it's going to be just ISB in Coliseum. So just a reminder that it looks like there's going to be a soft reset mid-era. So you're going to have to buy in again, so to speak.
So they put up a Gorman event in the data mine. I think that might be for the era challenge. I don't know if that'll necessarily reflect Coliseum. I mean, what you're saying would make sense for Coliseum.
So you'll be able to use the Rebels with the ISB units in Coliseum?
There's no reason why you shouldn't. Like the whole everything was together the last era in Coliseum. Discombobulated team.
Maybe they just loan you whichever units make sense for the team. I don't know.
Yeah, they would do that.
Anyways, I'm just saying that the bonuses don't look like they're going to give the ISB units the Rebel tag and the Rebel tag the ISB, the Rebel units the ISB tag. So it looks like it's going to be a soft reset.
Yeah, I see your point.
So that's just a worry of mine going forward, that if they do this split faction nonsense and they have a soft reset in the middle of the actual era, that's going to be highly obnoxious. And I wanted to just throw those out there because I did a Sasha this week and I just accumulated a shit ton of resources and added about a good dozen characters to my favorites to work on. And I haven't actually started any of the work yet.
Okay. Well, hopefully our conversation here gives you some ideas.
Yeah, but I will tell you who I already plan to remod or tinker with. Please. It's both Revens, both Bastilas, Inquisitor Barris, Second Sister, Jolie Bindo, Afra, and General Skywalker.
I mean, now, do you have a... Well, I guess it'd be interesting to see when you have it prepared what kind of spec you think is appropriate for the new Old Republic team under Satele.
Well, Jedi Revan is almost assuredly going to be speed, and I don't know how much. Time will tell what the non-crit damage triangle things matter, because the entire point of Jedi Revan is to make him mark and then call him to assist to reduce the cooldown on his mark, to then mark again, to then call him to. He's just going to be generating so much turn meter.
That he survives to perform that role than to do added damage with the damage triangle is my suspicion. I think, but I could.
I wonder. I'm still a little skeptical on this team's damage output.
And
to be clear, I'm more skeptical on its damage versus certain teams that are built to be bulky, right? Like Jabba and some stuff like that, right? I don't think this team's gonna have a problem beating up other non-GL teams. So I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do until I get my hands on some of these characters, but I definitely know that I want them in my favorites to keep them in mind. Outside of Barris and Second Sister, who I want to get fixed for this week. Darth Revan just hasn't had his mods touched in like 2 years and should probably just get an update.
Sure. Yeah.
And Bastila is the same. I don't think I've really touched her mods in the last couple of years. So Darkside Bastila, I should say. So with the remod to the Old Republic units, I think, or with the touch-ups to the Old Republic units, I think that should come with touch-ups to the other non-Malgus Sith Empire characters as well.
Fair enough. Good a time as any. DJ, how about you? What have you been preparing here for week 1? New relics applied, remods. What have you been up to?
I think with all things, remods will come. Like I usually try to do it the weekend before. I have the characters I want to remod. Don't get me wrong. So I will say I actually finally did some more relic 10s. C finally got his 10, and Ben finally got his 10. I was just like, and then I started looking at it, and we've had the discussion. But I also have my favorites, what Dagger talked about and you talked about. It's like Drogon. I want Drogon eventually. I think he's a great 10. I know we talked about Bausch or Boosh or whatever. She's a great 10. So like all of these characters I know like long term. Appo, I know is one that Dagger talked. Like, yeah, all of these were great add-ons that I want to get to. But what I have immediately set up is all of the supporting teams for the era units has been my focus right now. Second Sister, Ninth Sister. I'm looking at getting STL Luke and giving him some love again. Princess Leia, making sure she's locked in. I want to bring them all to 9 just for the disparity on the relics. But I'm also holding for Satele, so when it's time, I can just insta hit her as well. I don't have the mod set up like you do, but I actually got a plan that I want to lock in with all these teams and FTCs and everything else, locked and ready to rock as the week 1.
All right. Yeah, you'll have to share the notes for it then if you happen to do anything. Love to know. All right, over to you, Sasha. Now, you usually take it pretty easy in the off week, but do you have specific plans if you haven't done much already? about what you've been, what you want to upgrade. Relics, remods.
Yeah, I think it's actually kind of a mix of both Dagger and TJ there. But I am taking my usual approach of I kind of accumulate resources, particularly in the off week and sometimes even through the first week. So I'm kind of building up that bank of resources. I did not take any new R10s recently, but I'm starting to set like TJ like some sights on a few R10s that it kind of similar to some of the profiles he was describing, like either some GL lifters that were interesting. I also just have a number of tanks. I'm kind of curious just to take them to R10. It's just there are a lot more targets than there is ammunition right now for me with the with R10s. But I am looking at doing that. I do have I plan on applying some of my resources to that Jedi Old Republic squad. And the thing that is adding to my patience on that front is I need to do like Jolie and Juhani. Both of mine are R8. I'm not totally sure Juhani makes that squad in fives. I think actually Sortie may be the fifth on that Jedi Old Republic squad, and I say that just because like we were talking about the role Jedi Knight Revan plays there, and if I were trying to counter that squad, or if I were the opposing team in that squad, getting rid of Jedi Knight Revan would be my priority, which makes VIP from Sortie particularly appealing. And there are only a couple elements out of the Satil kit that are lost. If it's not all Jedi Old Republic, it can be all Old Republic for most. And then I was looking at doing Jolie. I know I'm going to want to. I don't know that he's in the threes squad. He might be. And I want to think a little further on that. If I'm going to take Jolie up to R9, that is, mine's at R8. And I guess the other stuff that I was looking at, like I always tend to when there's a new Datacron set thing, who's going to be elevated by this and whose elevation can sort of reach maybe even a tipping point or like some particularly impactful if they can just get that boost to R10. So even if it's just or like to the highest relic, whatever it is at the time. And is it worth doing for, as more calculus changes a bit, like, is it worth doing just for the life of that Datacron set? And now that life is, meaningfully shorter than it had been. But I'm considering still for some Merc and like Balin jumps way up on my list, but haven't done it, but is definitely on that list as a possibility. And yeah, and his kind of mini lifter like damage dealer, both Marok and Shin are awesome, but I do feel like it's more often that I would lose Shin and not have sufficient DPS than Marok. And so I've seriously considered Shin as like is she, even though I know the stat boost is not huge, just getting that relic delta would be pretty nice. So that was
all
another
the
one,
survivability she can get, so it's
right
fine.
yeah, so that's definitely a possibility. So rambling answer, but those are the things that as I accumulate resources that right now are sort of on my radar, and I'm going to go through a little more thinking. And to be honest, a lot of times in the off week, it's our conversations like these that then really get some of the juices flowing, make me really think like, oh yeah, here's some interesting applications, and just sort of lean me back into the game. But that's where I am at the moment.
Sounds great, man. Appreciate that. Fatal. How about you? Your remods, new relics applied, other preparations here for week 1.
Never remodded this early. Relic wise, nothing. It is well past time. I let myself do a bunch of random shit for the last few months, chase a bunch of tires, but yeah, no, Satil is here. There is a hell of a lot of materials. This is like the hardest crunch that I've had to do, just because I extended on Wookiees perhaps way further than was reasonably responsible given the Satil deadline, but I kind of let myself not think about having to relic up Basila and Juhani. It was fun to be like, nah, it's fine. I can catch up on Satil in time. They put the rest of the team on the list. I was like, oh, no, I cannot. Perhaps a R10 or two too far, perhaps.
So if you actually had the resources in your pocket, who would be, obviously you would keep one for Satele for week 2, right? Or is that 3?
It might be 2.
Is it?
Because
I want to say
off week is the first week. Week 1 is the second week.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah,
you're right.
it should be.
No, it is week
Yeah.
2. Okay, so sure, you
Yeah.
have that one in the pocket, but if you had another one, is that also going to somebody on Satele's team, or would it go somewhere else?
No. I mean, yeah, there's just no real good investments on that team beyond that, unless you're just like really fucking pilled on. I want 5% less relic delta on my true damage assist, which is like, but the number that you can get to is so big that like, yeah, it's just kind of just who cares, I think. Like,
let me get my Jedi Revan in peace.
I hope everyone in the game R10s their Revan.
Mm-hmm.
I was chatting shit with Spock like a few months ago about like how dog shit Jedi Revan is. And he pulled up the bot to look at like the comparison between R7 and R10 for like health and protection and defense, and that shit just did not move. Like that character is, I think, genuinely like, obviously there are just old ass characters that have 0 stats, but in terms of like what you would consider to be a participant in modern Galaxy of Heroes, he is just the squishiest character, and it's not remotely close. Like they designed that character around him being in the lead slot and having that savior, and now that he doesn't.
So let me ask you then. You mentioned you're looking at Juhani as well, and Sasha was kind enough to explain why he thinks that in 5 vs 5, it's certainly just Grand Arena, not considering TW any other possible application. Juhani would be potentially replaced by Sortie. What do you think about
that? For my personal sensibilities, not the right replacement. And so, okay. A, do not post this team on defense unless you're my opponent, and then please post this team on defense. Please, God, post this team on defense.
Let me play devil's advocate with you, because I know what somebody in the comments is going to say. How many teams have we said before are not going to do well on defense, and then they end up performing well, at least upon their initial release when they're enhanced by Datacron, assigned to them, or maybe even long term. There have been exceptions. So what do you say to that?
If a Datacron gets released that is good, then I will say, okay, this team is good on defense. I am not going to assume that the Datacron exists before it exists. This team is not good on defense. This team is going to be hyper proficient on offense. Look, man, I tried the hardest of fucking anybody back in the day to make Old Republic viable on defense. I did unspeakable things. I did everything a man could do to try to make JKR work well on defense. It's not meant to be. You just have to. There are just some things in life you cannot have. Steel is a phenomenal character.
Incoming Old Republic DC that makes Joe Lee have Ezra's crit avoid stats. Mark it here, folks.
I mean, yeah, to Fatal's point, the team mechanically is probably just going to lose the Treya and Inquisitors because its AI is probably going to be fucking dumb. And the reason we know its AI is going to be fucking dumb is because we know Jedi Revan's mark priority.
Fair, yeah. It could definitely be exploited, yes.
So and they have like 3 or 4 passive cleanses with cooldown reduction. So Reva's probably just going to chew the fuck through it because they're going to prioritize their cleanses into Purge.
Look, if you are going to ignore what I'm going to say, there are a few ways that you can run Satele, in my opinion. Like, if you're playing them on offense and you just want the most true damage on your mass assist, then you run Juhani. If you are using them in a scenario where you are willing to trade off some things for some other things, you run Watts. And the Watt tank tech will give you the taunting benefit from the start of battle. So you lose some things, you lose like the percent health resistance and a couple other tools and like revive guarantee. But you get the like whole can't gain turn meter, can't be assisted against, so that adds a different wrinkle. And if you are absolutely hell-bent on posting Satiel on defense, you almost 1000% should be posting Satiel Watt. That is like not negotiable in my eyes.
The only thing I'm saying is CG has a pretty good track record, and especially because of the month on, month off, whatever we're doing, I think I would expect that they would give something on the next DC set that would help her improve her time marking to say, okay, she can be on defense. Something along those lines is what I would expect, because they're pretty consistent on what's coming out now. And they have nothing right now for this set that would align to her going out as like, oh man, she's so much better because of this. That next time they'll say, all right, we didn't give it to her this time, but here's something Jedi. Here's something Old Republic, because we have crowns coming out like crazy right now.
If it happens, it happens. But I'm not gonna tell people to relic up random characters if based on what if it happens and guessing what it's gonna say.
Sure, but
so
that's
for me,
a good
Satele,
takeaway for people though. In lieu of a Datacron specifically to boost it, it's probably not worthwhile to set. Yeah,
that's why I know she's getting 9.
I also just don't think
everybody else is on hold.
I also don't think Satele needs an R10. I will like I joked earlier about the Jedi Revan, but I have an OCD in my head where I like need my Revans to be next to each other, and it's whatever. Like bad decisions get made sometimes, and that's okay. That being said, I have noticed that my Jedi Revan lasts a lot longer versus Lord Vader than it has in the past. So Fatal might be right that it gets very little in like actual survivability, but it has been living longer in my fights. So, I mean, it might just be a little bit of cope, but he legitimately has taken more hits in both GAC and TW.
One thing I was going to shout out, because there's been some initial testing that showed some things that I think I might have pointed out in the past year that ended up not seeming the case, but then that led a different direction. So it appears that Satele's protection up does not count towards her true damage. But what I assume that means is that bonus protection probably does count. And so I do think Satele Ray might be an interesting question mark in some cases, if Ray could just keep lifeblooding on her, or as needed, Jedi Revan. If the motherfucker can't live to save his own life, then maybe lifeblood could do it for him.
Oh,
because we are slamming R10. We are just trying to get that protection number up. We are running protection Datacron with bulk. And like if Ray can also add juice to the mix just by casting that move and bumping that damage number up, I don't know if that will be higher damage than having the Juhani assist. So I would kind of say Ray is the greedy option. Maybe it's just slightly different Juhani option of just like you get more damage and you get lifeblood, but you lose some of the stuff. And basically all this is to say I think Satele will be a little bit toolbox.
Okay. I look forward to seeing the experiments here. It's nearly upon us. I'm really excited. Let's see. So yeah, I mean, any other preparatory items outside of the next item here on Datacrons? All right, then next item. The bell has tolled. Set 25 is gone. The latest set that you can farm in Conquest now is set 28. You've got sets 26 and 27 stepping back into the fore. What Datacrons are your top priorities to use in week 1? That's just to the floor now. We're just no more round robin, gentlemen.
What about Red Robin? They have pretty good burgers.
Red Robin.
This guy.
Yum.
All right, so we're red light, green light.
I'm not sponsored by Red Robin. Red Robin, please sponsor me. I'll eat your burgers any day.
What I want to see initially is all of the stuff that was put on hold while the monster set was here. We have a whole bunch of FDCs that we get to play with for anybody who's got them. We have we have the new FDCs that are out. So when we say that question, that is a very wide margin that we get to look at.
Mm-hmm. Well, tell us a couple that are really top priorities for you.
I'll give you one I want to see. Luke was still holding a spot and doing things when we were coming up right now, and with the Kron, it was holding good. It had good stability, and people were trying to test it or something else, and that was getting just beat up. And that's another reason why I'm focusing on.
And partially the Kron. And
I'm excited. So I think Luke is going to hold some merit that people are going to try something, and if you do a right build and you lock them out because they're getting TMR'd or something else, I was living on hope for a long time. I think it's finally here that this gets to be better. And now they said 25 is dead. I think people are going to underestimate.
Okay, so it's down on defense for you.
For this, yeah, because if you can't hit it up right, and you're putting on like let's say Fatal-esque defense. STL loves defense. He loves setting up the potency and TMRing you. And if you can't hit that guy because he's just a tree stump who, all right, I've taunted. All right, well, now all your team is getting removed. All right, he's not going anywhere. And you're still trying to get to Leia, who's just beating the hell out of the team. It's the combination truly is great for threes. So Luke is probably my number one that I want to, I mean, minus the obvious, the Balin. And we didn't really get to play with Luke. And I feel like people are going to disrespect his name and then be like, why didn't this work anymore? What was this option? Well, this doesn't work anymore. Yeah, you don't have those monster sets. You now have to play with your resources, and what can you do?
I think you are likely right, because I don't think, at least at first, most people are going to be focused on, the fact that whatever their counter was last season for Stormtrooper Luke, it probably involves set 25. So you're onto something there, I think.
Yeah, I think the other thing, too, to remember is that when we're looking at the FTC specifically from the previous era, we're going to see the Darth Vader see a large decrease in his effectiveness just because he has less people on his team. And we're going to see a huge increase in the effectiveness of the Barriss and Stormtrooper Luke teams. Now, I think both of their Krons are good enough to have on their teams. I think the stat profile on the Luke Kron is like actually kind of absurd, low key. Like 75% armor pen, 15% defense, and 50% offense. Like that's like, well, how does Tass put it? The team uses every part of this particular Buffalo. Just a really, really good stat profile. The Barriss profile is not quite as good. The tenacity feels bad. That being said, 80% defense and 50% crit damage. So we go with 70% armor pen. Yes, Seven Sisters special damage. And I believe so is Barriss. So you're not getting much out of those two, much out of the armor pen with just 9th, and when the majority of her damage is true damage. So maybe you look into setting this team with a different Kron. 9th Sister also loves defense. She's a relatively, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe she has a relatively low base armor and like resistance threshold for a tank.
Yeah, but her unique gives stacking defense depending on, the number of Inquisitorious allies. Stuff.
Sure. But I'm saying that this may be a beneficiary of a nice defense Kron for the upfront defense.
Sure. Yeah. Sure.
But outside of, I think, those two teams, we already kind of know how good the Afra team is on defense from last season. She was one of the flagship ones. People like Fatal and Tass jumped on immediately, wanted to make work. So we have a reasonable sample size, I think, on those two teams. But yeah, I'm definitely excited to see what Asajj can do, and I think TJ's right with the Stormtrooper Luke. And man, how long do you want to talk about just the armor and instinct focused Krons, right? I'll let somebody else.
This is as broad as you want it to go, so that's where we happen to be on. But we still have two other active sets that you might want to make mention of.
I just want to make
you
sure that
go
everybody who wants to have a conversation about these specific crons says what they need to say or what they want to say before we move on, I guess.
I don't know how you move on from this. So I told everybody that walking into this door right now, set 25 is dead. There are a lot of toys that we didn't get to play with that are, to me, on the table. I mean, pick your targets. Imperial Remnant, that's a lot of stuff they get to do. Oh, I don't know if people remember it, but OG Gideon, when it was down to threes, that dude was a menace with his massive hits.
He was also
and so it's like that. There's pick the target of what we're looking at, right? If you're going to talk Armor Instinct, I can't wait to try Bad Batch out, because it doesn't matter if it's 5 or 3s. I still think that the Crosshair Cron is going to be really good and lock people down in it.
So I don't disagree.
And that's and right now they're okay having less characters, in my opinion, because they still have bulk, so they have the ability to still maintain. So having that good setup, that's going to be super scary. I'm trying to keep away from what we think of the obvious ones.
Yeah, I'm also more excited for the Night Trooper Cron than I am the Gideon Cron, because I think Gideon in 3v3 is slightly worse. Mostly because it's 3 characters versus 3 characters, so like his underman potential is less valuable. Because it's probably a 2-man instead of a 3-man in a 5v5. You know what I mean? Like these characters that do solos or undermans, I think carry a little bit less value in 3s. So I'm really excited to see if the Night Trooper Cron is as good as it was last time, personally.
And how would you mean to apply that? Is that with Great Mothers, or do you mean with DTMG? And
honestly, either. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to experiment with it or how much I plan to experiment with it, but like historically, or the last time we had the level 9, it was really, really freaking good.
I can spread it out to a third, because you can easily just put them with Enoch. It doesn't have to go there.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure. He has room on
I
Enoch's
guess
team.
I wasn't thinking about that.
Because we have a DTMG Cron, a Moff Gideon Cron. Like, I know that we only have 15 spots on the board in 3s, but like TJ said, we can spread our teams out if we want. We can condense them. It's how many of these Crons do you want to use? Like the Wrecker Cron is actually reasonable on a couple different teams, because the tank, I don't know if it's going to be, I think it's mostly an offense thing than a defense thing. But when he taunts, when he loses taunt, he strips turn meter. There's a couple of teams that strip his taunt. And if you can find ways to keep putting taunt on him, like I know in the past I've used the Malik, Dooku, Watt to beat teams, and putting a tank tech on this guy against a team that dispels on basic just means they never take turns if you can find a team that is willing to hit him every once in a while. So all I'm saying is I can think of a couple of uses for a couple of these characters that are a little more niche. So yeah, I'm super excited that Armor and Instinct is going to get a chance to shine for exactly 1 3v3 before it dusts.
Yeah, it's still gonna take a little getting used to this idea that for however strong they are, they're gonna be less dominant by definition. So overall, I still kind of feel good about that, especially when we're talking about how with the very latest set, which I guess we'll cover last for order's sake. When you're not able to get the defense rolls that you're seeking, it feels good to know that it's going to be gone sooner than later, because otherwise you're under the heel of the Giga Krakens. Okay, Bounty Protocol.
What are your thoughts, Sasha and Fatal? You guys haven't said much on this.
Oh, that's true. Other comments on Armor and Instinct?
Nothing for me. I mean, I have high hopes for the Moff Gideon Cron in 3s, but and I like the Night Trooper one, but no, nothing wasn't already covered.
Okay.
Do you think that the Moff Gideon one is going to? Are you excited for the underman potential, or just to use the Cron in general? Because I think the Cron's good. Don't get me wrong, but like my initial thought was the last time we had it, he was like 1 or 2 manning teams. And I'm curious if we think that he's going to be doing that again.
I had high hopes of it being able to handle, like, for example, Jabba squads, but the Jabba squads now may have like some interesting counters. I think the Jabba squads I think can at least get 1 or 2 mercs on him and could get, stun on special and a few things that might screw with that. But so not really well refined thoughts on it, but I did expect it to be a really effective, like offensive, like punch pretty high squad. But I wasn't expecting to set it on D.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Well, I'm sure you'll be able to solo a lot of the Erodium teams that you see.
I know.
I believe in you, Sasha. Hold the
Sorry.
line.
No, it is what it is.
All right, going. Other comments on Armor and Instinct. Going once, going twice.
Didn't they stop Gideon Crown from infinite looping last time? So I don't know if it's going to be soloing teams that much.
My hope is that it carries more with the 15% if it ties it back to be able to get closer to that setup.
Yeah, I was under the impression that with the 15%, he's not quite lapping teams, but he is, kind of, sort of.
Yeah, it's something that you would want to test in week 1 and get the measure of ASAP. So fair enough.
I don't know if he's going to be soloing teams. That's why I said I think he can 2-man teams with like DTMG or Enoch.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm like excited by anything in that Datacron. Said it just like, okay, Bad Batch 2 has training wheels right down. Yeah, sure, why not? Like, Vader FTC is propping him up and making him think he's a good character. Yeah, sure, why not? Okay, the one thing I will shout out is I continue to be pretty interested in the Starkiller 9 going with Seer Malco Starkiller. So that's maybe something.
I'm also curious. I'm also just curious to see if the Asajj-Cron, because there were a couple instances of
I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, Dadbod Boba beating Jabba last season with this FDC, and I'm curious to see what the limits to that are.
I think that one is going to go a lot further than people would account for. Seeing what it was able to do while Set 25 was here, it felt reliably strong and not needing the tank. I could see that being another high victory setup just because, Forlorn's not in there with there, but it felt pretty usable in a lot of cases where you think it might not.
Okay. Yeah. And I'm sorry, I just had to respond to a DM on the side, so I don't know if this was exactly the point that you were just touching on, but if you were talking about for the Afra team. So Afra, it has to be BT1 IG90, right? Or is it? You wouldn't drop BT1 under any circumstance. So yeah, I was gonna say no role for Forlom in there. So yeah, Forlom back with Zuckuss, I guess.
You would cut BT1 if you were eyeballing like IGDA Cron or something.
Yeah. Does that sound like the better balance when we have the FDC in season?
I don't even remember what that FTC does. I have zero plan to use it.
Oh, really? Okay.
I don't even have that FTC. That FTC is level 0 for me. I regret purchasing it.
Sure. All right. Well, unless there were any other comments to add on Armor and Instinct, let's circle back here on Bounty Protocol, which, we've already had here for a couple of months, but definitely superseded by set 25. Now, who is going to be taking the 4 for you from this set, guys?
Honestly, this set kind of got replaced by Power for Hire and Armor for Instinct for me. I don't actually plan to use very many of these in 3v3. Maybe the C3PO Cron, but outside of that, I don't. I guess that there are some uses for the IG88 Cron. What is this? What are the stat profiles on these? I don't even know how much the stat profiles I care about on some of these are.
Stats can be crit damage, potency, health protection, health steal,
yeah,
armor
no, that's right.
penetration.
This is the one with the massive prot numbers. That's right. So yeah, I do have a JML Cron from this set.
Good call. Yeah, that's going to be worth your while.
But outside of that,
I likewise have something like that. I have a whole bunch of turn meter crons out of this set. This is my replacement turn meter set. Light side.
Yeah, I'm just looking at what I have, and I'm just like, some of these will be used for stats. Some of these will be used. I might find a use for IG88. If I use C3PO, I'd probably use a C3PO Cron.
Mhm.
Because it'll be C3PO, Chupio, CLS, right? So like
Hmm.
you'll get 2 droids out of it. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't move the needle for me because the whole Fennec, Zuckuss, Forlom thing in 3v3 is generally just going to be consolidated into whatever team you use Asajj on.
Okay.
I guess I'm living in a different world. I had bigger plans for this because the 300% is still a monster to have to
Yeah,
deal
tell
with.
us all about
Yep.
it.
I'm looking at it like I like. Okay, I was always negative about the call, and I've talked about it. But with this sprinkling of it, there's pieces everywhere that you get to use. I think people are going to underestimate what Zuckuss and Forlom get to do. I expect that to be hurting a lot of feelings more than I think people are going to give it credit for because it was already doing well. Even when Set 25 was here, people really didn't know how to anticipate. And now that that's gone, and you're relearning the game, I think we've talked about there's a lot of teams who could take some benefits from what that has to offer. I'm also a lover of it. I like the Chopper Cron, and I get that could be whatever else it is, but the way he's set up for it, I like that 9. And with the Terminator to start it, you could lock in. I have expectations for that set still.
I mean, I have expectations for using some of the Crons. I'm talking about like how much do I expect to use this set as opposed to the other 2 sets?
Yeah, for its
I think
abilities outside of stats.
I'm
I have
saying
I
I
have a
think that
JML Cron,
300%.
I have a JML Cron, a Jabba Cron, and then like a Zuckuss Cron. And
Well,
outside of those 3, I don't think I'm going to be using much this next season
no, I
outside of
got
just
that,
stats.
but TJ,
Mhm.
are you looking at something like a 3-way bounty hunter split? Is that something you're thinking about?
I think there's a lot of spread here that people aren't going to be respecting that you get to do. I think to what Fatal said is true, and you can pull pieces from everything. There's droid pieces here. You have scoundrel, you have bounty hunters that you get to talk about.
Sure.
I think you get to do more than
Well, give
people are
us some of
giving
the
it
teams you're
credit
planning to
for.
use then.
That's the whole thing. I don't know yet, but I
Well,
know
like
I'm going to give
something
it
like
more.
I mean, just spitballing here.
So, all right.
Dadbod,
So here, if
Fennec,
you want to go with like
Asajj.
that, I can still see Jabba. Jabba has still use in the 300%.
I agree
People
with
were
that.
disrespecting that, and I think you're dead
That was
if you
harder to
think it's not
that
going
was
to beat
harder
the
to
shit out of
mother
it.
Talzin last season.
Just looking at off rip, Forlom and Zuckuss, they definitely are on their own team, and I think they can be okay on defense with this setup. I liked the 9s on both Forlom and Zuckuss, and they were
With
getting
who? Who's your
holes.
third?
That one I don't know yet. I think that one I'll need to go
Well,
back and look at
what
because I
about that first
remember
team? What about that first team that I threw out?
Bosk.
The Dadbod, Fennec, and Asajj Dark Disciple. Is that a solid one?
That is absolutely to me the creme of what you're doing for that team. But
Okay.
Forlom and Zuckuss alone,
Hmm.
you could do Bosk on that team and be just fine. Because I seem to recall that having good merit to hold out
I want to
and
say
be able
there's
to
something
shrink
in
things.
Zuckuss's
Let
kit
me
that wants
really
him
quick.
to be the only tank.
Let me ask you this,
And-
TJ, because I already said that I think the Forlom and Zuckuss one will be good. I think I'll find use for
Mhm.
C3PO, and I have a Jabba
Mhm.
Cron. Outside of those 3, how many more Crons do you think you're going to use from this set? Like, and where would you
Mm.
use them outside of just maybe first snap?
So for this set alone, I could see a total of 6 just immediately off rip. And again, I'm going to keep calling out. I think people underestimate
Which 6?
what the right now Chopper, Chupio, 3PO.
Chupio's pretty bad.
It's all about what we can do with it. If I'm using my resources, CLS with Chupio might be something to do. Again, you're asking me, so I'm telling you.
Well, that's fair.
So
That's
if we're
fair. I'm
looking
just
at
saying
the
that I've used
IG8, I think the
Cron as one being
IG88
bad.
one, that level 9 on the
That's fair.
IG88 is you have to respect that setup. And then past what you said with the crit chance and setting it up, I think people aren't going to expect what that can do. And then I personally love the Chopper 9. I think the Chopper 9 and the setup you could do with Krex on the team and line that up, you can actually
Oh,
set up some
okay.
pretty
That's
funny loot.
sneaky.
So there's more than I think people are giving it credit. And I know Fatal wants to talk about the 300 because that man has been saying the 300 with the setup. I think that 300 will allow your bounty hunter teams to spread out, even on the offense side of things. I think we get to do a lot of fun stuff with that.
Okay. Appreciate that extended answer. That was very thorough. I appreciate that. How about other you guys? Other plans that haven't already been covered? as you would do it with the Bounty Protocol set 26. No? No? Okay, going once, going twice. We are on to the very latest and greatest, set 28. What's the name of it, guys?
Power for Hire.
Power for Hire. All right. You may or may not have already gotten the crons that you're looking for out of this set. So if you had to pick and choose for week 1, who are your top priorities to make sure you have going into this first week?
Me personally, Embo's on the list for TW, not for GAC. Other than that, Jedi Cal, Vane, and probably Bosk. Maybe looking at Athano, unsure. But Bosk, Embo, Vane, and Cal Kestis. I know that there's something there with the Kyle and the Datacrons, but I'm not 100% sure that I would for sure use them over something else week 1. Number 1, because I don't use either of the characters all that frequently. And number 2, I'm not sure if the Kyle one might be good enough to use somewhere, but it kind of ties it. A portion of the power of the Kyle level 9 is tied to mercenaries, and Balin has an FDC. So I don't know where I would use Kyle, where he also has mercenaries to try to get the maximum amount out of his level 9. Maybe just throw him with Saw, but even then, I'm not sure that there's not a better cron for Saw.
Okay.
It is a bit of a shame that Kyle Katarn level 9 comes at the same time as the Balin FTC, because it does have that Merc tie. It is, I think it's extremely potentially impactful. He can repeat basically right out of the gate an AOE that blinds everybody, and because he has Jedi Knight, right from the gate, and he gives that benefit to Mercs as well. The level 6 for Mercs is interesting. So I had a lot of interest in it, and I think there's still, frankly, some really good utility either like under Mothma or Saw, but it would have been, excuse me, nice to have him as like this isn't for threes, but as a 5th in a Balin squad, and
Yeah.
I think there still are options there. One other I'll shout out that's like just tantalizing with the mechanics, and I'm not saying it's a top tier option, but it'd be a nice one to have in the back pocket, is you really can get bounty hunters, like a squad of bounty hunters, certainly in 5s, to give OG Mando his disintegrate immediately, like right off the gate, right? Because you can give 25% dark side to turn meter. So you can accelerate. You have that turn meter gain and cooldown reset on level 6. That is usable by a number of folks within the bounty hunter faction, and Bosk, who gets a bonus turn anytime somebody is stunned. So you can use a combination of characters there to get contracts immediately, and by the time Mando goes, what's that?
Or a stuns on basic is like a 70% chance or something.
Something like that.
Yeah, or that's exactly right. So she's got a 70% chance as well
Just
for
feeding
stun.
Boss turns to feed mass assists. Yeah, that.
Yeah, you'll get to Bosk stun and mass assist as well, because he depending on how you set him, he's got 25% turn meter gain. He can go quickly. He gives himself frenzy, and then you have another dark side that fast follows him. So like there were just some interesting options as like you look at certain squads on D and you just say, hey, I've got a real shot to take all the damage threat off that squad before it moves. So that was another smaller one that I had in mind.
Fair enough. My priorities. So I had the FDC kind of done. I was hoping to get. I have a Vane one. Obviously, we're all having that, of course. And I think we said last episode that at least for the time being, we're thinking it's the max health damage, the 10% max health damage level 6 with that, and 25% turn meter 3. Sorry, what?
I still really like the turn meter level 6. I'm not saying it's better,
Honorable mention at the least, then.
I really do like the Terminator level 6.
Okay.
I do like the Terminator. See the video we saw in the last stream, or the last time you streamed, was a TW stream, so there's not much to glean from that.
Right.
But yeah, I'm waffling right now on speed up versus TM, and I want somebody to, tell me which one to do, please.
I mean, I think TJ hit it on the head last time and said just, have both. And that's actually seriously not an unreasonable option, because if you otherwise had them the same, you would absolutely use the same stat profile. Like if you were happy enough to, or, privileged enough to get the same stat profile for both, you would absolutely use both Crons. So it's no question.
I funny enough want multiple veins, and I'm not talking two. I'm talking easily, because the one thing I do like with this set is the Dark Side Tank Revive with the health. You could easily turn that into, I can make that easily into a Malgus Cron or something else I want to do. But it makes your fight scary when you have multiple vein Crons to choose from with different setups that get to change the fight. And then when you're walking in the door, are you ready to account for all of the ways the fight can go?
Which does bring me to a salient question. Do you guys think that Jabba in 3 vs 3 has a case to fight the Vein Cron?
I don't think it's going to be very good on. Well, I mean, Fatal will overwhelmingly post on defense, so this applies to non-him people. But I don't think Jabba's going to be particularly good on defense this season. What with all of the predators he has, and I'm not sure that the 300% offense level 6 is going to be enough for him to fight back on defense. So I think seeing in 5v5 that there was some potential of it working, I am curious to see how the offense level 6 works in 3v3. I'm not holding out a ton of hope. But I do think there's something there. I just don't know how much of something is there.
I would ask only one question to that, just to make sure when we start saying Jabba with the answer. Was that a set 25 Jabba?
No. We were saying
he
it
got to
was a
play with-
set 25 thing from last 5 vs 5 season, but it was a question of whether or not this thing would work even when we come back to next 5 vs 5. But in this specific
Agreed.
case, do you think there's, you could go with Power for Hire, or you could likely go with Bounty Protocol? Does either offer a strong case? I mean, does any of the three offer a strong case to Jabba, in your opinion?
I think for most of us, he's not really super postable. Unless something changes, because the Jabbas I saw that had the 300% were still dying to all the same stuff, pretty much, that they were dying to previously.
I actually think Jabba's postable, so I'm going to disagree. But go ahead, finish.
Yeah, so when we look at the teams that are actually beating Jabba, it's like Asajj, Night Sisters, some DTMG comps, and Crons. And I'm not sure I want to feed that up to my opponents. Will I post it sometimes? Probably. But it would be nice to have it work against something like Hondo on defense. Like, you work against Hondo, because that would save me my SOKR.
Well, sure. And you do make a point. I do remember, is it not the case, guys? We probably don't have the same mix of 3 and 6 with it like we did. But I remember DTMG with Night Trooper being a legitimate Jabba counter with a Night Trooper level 9 in the past.
We do have the same level 6. I just don't think we have the same level 3. We have the alert level 6.
Might be worth thinking about trying. I don't know. You will surely see some Jabbas on defense.
Oh yeah. When I say I don't think he's postable, I'm saying that I think he's probably in the bottom third of the teams you're setting.
Okay, I can see
somewhere 11 through 15. I'm putting him somewhere because he'll draw something good, not because he's going to stonewall my opponent or force a drop.
Okay. So I mean,
I will say in this world, he gets to be on defense, or he also gets to solo on offense. I think Jabba, that was one of the key pieces that made Jabba so good, in my opinion, is that even with the set 25 or whatever else you're trying to do, wherever you put him, he will require something. And if it's even on offense, he gets to solo something. So in the world of the Fatal trying to make the setup, he has a good calling.
Okay.
I'd throw out one other Datacron consideration in the meta that we may be going into, and it's a Datacron I had high hopes for, but there's a glitch with. That's the Cody Datacron, and I'll bring it up just because I actually think in this meta, one of the strengths it still has that wasn't available in sort of the first time we were seeing it early, sort of preliminary action in fives, but that is there in threes. So assuming, let's just say we go into a meta where there's a ton of defense being set, right? Like you see some, like you go up against a Cron that's got 300 plus defense. One thing that's nice about that Cody Cronus, I mean, you bring the comp together. They have a good amount of survivability. Cody's leadership gives like 60% defense per clone to himself and half that to the others, and there's an extra 100% that comes with the Cron. And if you're opposing a squad with very high defense, it's not ramping as it should. It looks like it maybe gives the 50% bonus offense once on a crit, and it doesn't stack it. That's a bummer. But in a meta where defense is huge, we know that ignore defense is like so strong that they ended up pulling it off of everybody but like Spirit and others. Like they're really cautious about not putting ignore defense there. Well, the next best thing to ignoring defense is reducing it down to just minimal levels and repeated armor shreds, which you're going to have in threes. The Captain Rex Omicron paragraph on 3v3 all clone allies active, and that is every time that they assist, they are putting up armor shred, and that armor shred does stuff. We've seen that, and so there is like you're going up. Let's just say it's a squad that's a timeout squad with extreme defense. You're going to very quickly, because of that Cody lead and some of the other aspects of that Cron. I think that calls assists pretty regularly. It ends up with a ton of armor shreds. So I think that's interesting. It's a squad I thought would be overpowered, if anything, with the 50% offense, but I think it'll be good in threes.
All right. I think that'd be interesting. I wasn't thinking about this at all, so thank you for putting it on my radar. How would you be setting up Cody mod-wise?
I set him up for high survivability.
Like defense, primary, stuff like that?
I did exactly. They were like almost entirely, I think, survivability related primaries on the set. The issue is I did all of that modding when I first read the Datacron, took it at face value, and assumed that there was going to be this infinite stacking of 50% offense, where I'm like, this thing is going to eventually just hit like an absolute truck. So why don't we just make sure it stays around long enough and it gets, truck status? The Datacron doesn't play out that way. That's a bummer, but that's what I did. And I don't think it's going to hit incredibly hard, but it has nice survivability, and I would probably lean into that strength, and it is whittling away the defense of the opposing team in that 3v3 thanks to the correct Omicron.
Oh, I like that. Knowing that the offense does not stack indefinitely, do you think that switching to a more gas style of modding on Cody would be more appropriate, or do you think you're still going to take the more tanked out setup?
I'm probably still taking the tanked out setup and just trying to see if the focus fire can get something down.
Good one.
And I might be more selective with it, or throw it on defense, but I also hold out a little bit of hope, not a lot, but a little, that we'll get some random bug fix that pops up. Scribe, to his credit, also noted this in a YouTube he put out about the FTC not working. And while often they just let DC glitches go, when it's a DC that they've specifically sold for, at least in the US, for $50, I would think there's probably a little higher degree of escalation on remediation, but maybe not. Maybe not.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, I appreciate that. How about the rest of the room here? Bailey, you've been quiet for a bit. Other big plans here out of the newest set? Set 28?
think Vayne Crown's good. I think Balian Crown's good. I think everything else is bad, and I'm just going for defense and Darkside Terminator and Lightside buffs and that sort of thing.
Here, here.
All right, fair enough. How many crowns do you think you're looking to get total out of this set?
I mean, I already have an almost full collection, but they're all dog shit, so I don't know. I don't know if I just stop here and give up and walk away, or if I'm supposed to start like dismantling crons mid set and like doing more Sector 4 and just keep trying or whatever. But
yeah,
I think no, we'll see.
I've already probably broken down 2 or 3 crons that had just mismatched stats about halfway through. So
for week 1,
I've got more work to do.
For week 1, I'll end up with somewhere between 12 and 15
okay.
total crons, probably with some amount of investment.
You mean
probably
is that inclusive of FTCs, or do you just mean of the regular Power for Hire?
Of the regular ones, I'll have the FTCs. Okay. So yeah, so I'll have somewhere between 12 and 15 of the regular crons. I don't go nearly as hard as some of you guys on crons, especially when these sets just aren't powerful enough to justify going as wide as I see a lot of people still going.
Yeah, I went with the Ascension this time. I didn't pick up the calendar. I'm thinking to buy it and hold on to it to use for the next conquest type of thing. Hopefully I don't need it, but we'll see.
Yeah, I haven't even.
I think on average. Sorry. I think on average, like right before we started the show, I had the thought of like, should I just stop here and bang for a future set? And like, I just don't think Datacrons are going to be that powerful from now on. That like, do I think the next set is going to be better? Like, whatever the June set is going to be better than a defense set? Nah, not really. So unless the hope is just, I'm gonna bank and I'm gonna make that conquest easier. It's like I really don't have an expectation that like set 29 is gonna roll around and be like, holy shit, there's 12 good Datacrons to farm. I just don't think that's what CG is planning to do anymore. So like, even just like the idea of calendar banking, I'm just like, nah, man, I'm just slamming calendar. I'm slamming Ascension. Just we're gonna go for defense, and it didn't happen. And so I'm just like, all right.
I respect that.
Yeah, I'm just not. Yeah, it's one of those things where I know I've said on this show before, especially the last couple months. I have no use for 75 to 90 crowns. I only really have use for 45 to 60. And even that's way more than I need in the sense that it gives me a variety and it gives me enough optionality. But if I'm getting 20 to 24 crons per set, like what the fuck am I doing? Like I might as well just get the 10 to 12 ones that I want, work more on rerolls than going wide. I don't know. And I'm not saying this to disparage anybody who wants to go wide on crons. It's just like, do you need 90 crons? I don't feel like we need 90 crons. And like Fatal said too, if I only have like 15 to 20 crons from each set, it allows me to go a little bit harder on the sets that are slightly better. Not because I think that sets are going to be better in the future, but is the next set going to be better than defense? Probably not. So should I focus more on rerolls from this set? Probably.
All right, I appreciate that. Yeah, I still have to try and come up with a Jedi Cal Cron at least here. That's just super high priority for me. Other than that, I think I'm well on track. Other set 28 Datacron plans worth mention to the entire room. Anybody? Going once.
I think Embo's probably still good.
Yeah, I think you mentioned it, but you think that's actually you think that that's something that's going to stand out in Grand Arena? I know you initially mentioned it as a TW thing.
As a long-term spec kind of thing, I don't think you want to go back and get an Embo Cron in 2 months.
Okay, you're saying, if you're looking into it for TW, certainly now, but if for not TW, better value by getting it earlier than later.
Yeah, bounty protocols
I guess that's
expiring after this season. So going into 5v5, you're probably going to be looking at Power for Hire for your Jabba.
Okay.
Outside of that, yeah, like Cal, Vayne. I'm with Sasha. I think the Boss Cron has some legs to it. But also to Fatal's point, very few of these feel like, oh my god, I need this. Oh my god, I want this.
Sure. Yeah. I think a lot of folks are definitely looking for that kind of guidance. All right,
Yeah.
guys. Anything else here on set 28? Going once, going twice. Sold. We are on to patron questions, guys. We actually had a fair handful here. Let me take us up to the top. Now, a shout out to friend of the stream, Scribe Gaming. Scribe was originally booked to be our special guest for this episode, but, he got caught up at work. He gave me reasonable notice that he might be tied up, gave me notice as soon as he knew for sure that he wasn't going to be able to make it. So, really appreciate the courtesy, and yeah, we'll try to pick you up next time, man. It's a shame. We were all looking forward to seeing you, but we'll get you in again sometime very soon. That said, let's dig into the questions. First one, up from Supermar. Do you think CG should or will nerf the Vaincron? And my answer is no.
No to both.
Yeah, I don't think so. Doesn't feel
I sure
super
hope. I
busted.
sure hope not, because all you really have to do is literally just stun the guy who's doing all of this stuff, and you've locked it down. It is absolutely beatable. You may not come up with like an off meta or something else, but there's nothing that makes it overpowered when you can just literally stop the TM, stun the character, and then just go about your business.
Yeah, instead of stunning Hondo or
Yeah,
or Silvo, you're just stabbing Vayne.
right.
And if you're talking about Seer, it gets a little more complex because now they have a lot more pressure coming towards you. So
Right.
if they handcuff Malicos, it's probably closer to game over, but still probably reasonably doable. I mean, data will obviously tell all, but yeah, not. It
This
doesn't feel game breaking. It just feels generically good.
Yeah, it's just one specific, and even in the setup, right? We're talking about, yes, they talked about set 25, but you're talking about an entire class of characters. Attacker was the setup, and then that was a different thing. This is specifically set up for one character that can easily be manipulated by a number of things. So there should be no reason to have to change anything with it. Yes, if you take it on offense, it's amazing what it's beating. But you put it on defense, it's like, cool, I just stunned you. We'll just go about business as usual. I'm sorry, that is not something where it's like you've broken the mold.
Yeah.
Fair. Any other thoughts to throw in there on the Vaincron? Because I mean, for me, I actually responded back a little bit in text to this person when they wrote it out, saying that I would be happy to talk about it on the show. But first, after the set 25 debacle, I would just as soon have them leave the crons as they release them. Win, lose, or draw, and then do better next time. Then rather than have them try to course correct during the life of the set. And then the second,
I also want to
go ahead.
Go ahead, Test. No, I just it doesn't make any sense. That's literally what they told us they were going to do.
Yeah, they just thought it was too
egregious.
They just thought that set 25 was too egregious, and maybe they were right, but the way it was ultimately handled, I think most of us would feel that it is not out of line. Don't let me speak for the whole room if you disagree. To just have them leave it as released and do better next time.
All they had to do was change the level 6 the way they did. Instead of being 25%, have it be 5%. And they didn't have to do any of the other fuck shit that they did that made the set miserable.
Yeah, maybe.
But I also think that they're going to be hands-off for a bit. And one of the reasons why they're doing lower-powered crons is so they have to fix less.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they have to fix crons a couple times in the next... If 50% of the next 5 or 6 sets after this, they had to tweak something or fix something, they already undermined a ton of their credibility with the we're not going to fix it. Oh, LOL, we fixed it anyways.
Fair.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be fixing anything for a while. I think they know that they need to print worse sets so they don't have that problem.
All right. Fair enough. Let's see. Yeah, and the second point I was making there is that, in the specific case of the Vaincron, I think he is powerful but not overpowered. Then again, based on a sample size of fighting him once there at the end of 5 versus 5. So, as of this moment, does not feel busted. All right. Yes. That's kind of a joke question. But what do you guys think? Is the odds the worst conquest modifier ever?
Which one is that?
Have to go and hunt one down.
I assume it's
Because
just
the
Rebel.
worst one ever is
It's
the one
probably
that
just Rebel attack again when you crit.
Oh no, the worst one. You're talking about the worst one to play against?
Yeah. Surely the
The
worst one
damage
to play
reflection
against.
Padmes can go fuck themselves.
Yeah, all the Padmes are always historically just if I don't JMK this, I'm likely to just lose banners. I'm just not messing.
Yeah. The Rebel one is like not
Steadfast
annoying.
Retribution.
Yeah, that one's not super annoying because you can just take in a team that can take hits, like Wrecker, like the new Wrecker, or taking something that revives. So when Sabine deletes your tank after attacking it 73 times in a row, taking 2 minutes off the clock, you can just revive it and move on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the multi-assist, the endless assist thing, I think you can deal with a little more easily than the Padme Steadfast Retribution. That is really awful. Any others? Worthy mentions? Ones you hate?
Honorable mention. It's not really a modifier. Like GR is obviously the worst, and I don't think the odds is all that bad. But I have had Starkiller stonewall some teams lately if it has Barris in the mix and you're at like low stamina in a way that's just like, well, minus 16 energy or whatever it is, I guess. Like, you got me. Congrats.
Yeah, there are some that are incredibly punishing if you're like below 80% stamina. And Starkiller is generally one of those that if you don't have a couple of stacking offense discs, you're just not likely to chew through that team before they really fuck you up. If you're at like 60, 70, even lower stamina.
Yeah, I think my Pirate King Hondo was just like timing out. It's like, all right.
Yeah, exactly.
If I didn't have an upgraded Brutus, I probably could have won. But instead, he had to get rid of all of his profit to do useless massive damage. Thank you, Capital Games.
All right. Next question here. Interesting. Kind of more of a personal question for us, guys. From Miasmal. What is your preferred protein for dinner and your favorite beverage to go with it? Obviously, for me, fans of the show will know it's steak. Medium rare is the most I'd like it. Rare to medium rare is fine. I don't need to have blue rare. I think that's mostly performative. And then, yeah, just a good, clean, refreshing beer. So something more like a Pilsner than an IPA. IPA is a little too strongly flavored for me to drink with something like a steak. I'd drink it if I had to, and I'd enjoy it just fine, but you're asking. That's what I'd be okay with. Other than that, red wine with steak is just fantastic as well. I do like very dry red, so it'd be Cabernet. And one of my very favorite dinners. How about you guys? Protein and drink to go with it.
I mean, I think there's two answers to the question. There's what is your ideal dinner and what is your default, your go-to. For me, my go-to is just air fried chicken because I live in a house of people who don't eat a whole lot of meat. My partner has Crohn's. My daughters are mostly vegetarian. So if I want something, it has to be something I can make pretty quick. Although that being said, like Tass said, I do really enjoy a really nice steak. Rare, but charred. Medium rare is acceptable if the char is good. And then with like some mushroom and butter toppings. And as far as the drink goes, as long as the drink is somewhat alcoholic, I'm probably good and not like sugary. It's like no wine. No,
right, get this man 2006 Four Locos to drink with his steak.
I mean, the last steak I had, I think I had a hard cider. And it was a little too sweet. But I think the last steak I had a hard apple cider. But definitely chicken is my go-to because it's cheap-ish and you can air fry it pretty readily. It's pretty easy to just air fry and season and bread to your heart's content. Pretty flexible meat.
Who's next to step into the protein and drink spotlight?
I think mine's going to be actually different. because
let's have it. Then.
I guess as it got older, it is not anything on the steak. Honestly, it's the double cut, really awesome like pork chop. If you give me, dude, a phenomenal pork chop will crush. I have to say it this way, just coming up from all the proteins or like that, a steak for me, which is funny enough to say, but you get it correct, man.
Oh well, I mean, you can't leave us on the edge. Tell us what correct looks like for this pork chop.
So for me, I'm honestly funny enough because you're fine to still eat that medium. You get just a nice pink center to it.
We're talking pork, right?
Yes, I'm talking pork.
I don't need no pink in the center pork. What are we?
No, you can absolutely still do a light pink in it.
And while while TJ is right, I want that bitch gray.
I'm okay that you're saying it that way, but what you'll notice is it's actually super hard to cook a double cut. So you really have to have a tender hand with that to make sure it gets correct. So that is not as easy as you think it is.
What does the outside look like? You like it crispy, you like it charred, you like it.
It still has to have a char to it. The setup never changes with that, so it still has to align. But it's cooking it just right so it doesn't dry out. It's actually not that easy. Drink, I'm for whatever on the drink. It's never been a big thing for me, but it's just like as I was getting older, I noticed that like steak was cool, but man, getting the double cut to be correct is just like that is crazy good.
I think we can all agree as gentlemen here that when we make our own like preferred steak or pork chop, whatever ourselves, that is, and we do it the way we like it, the way we want it. No matter what it is you're making, that's your perfect like thing.
Oh, I'm saying I'll go out to a restaurant and order this. Like I will actually go out. That's how much I say. That's when I say my preference.
Let's get to it. We're still in the preamble. What is going into this pork chop?
It's just the sage. It's just the butter, and it's just the correct cooking bed. It doesn't take much. That is everything to me. That is all correct. Yeah,
what's the sides? What's the accoutrement?
Honestly, you're not gonna beat the like a double stuffed potato or any of that. Like it's just.
Oh, are you saying twice baked or?
Yeah. Sorry, the twice baked. But yeah, it's like you can't.
Oh my god!
It's just take all of the pieces to your barbecue, but it's just it was funny enough for me where somebody decided to tell me to try to order it, and I ordered that, and that was like a life-changing experience where I was like, I'm not gonna go for the steak. When you go to those 5 stars when they have a double cut, like a double thick pork chop, I'm telling you, man, the correct setup on that it'll mess with you.
Now, don't forget the drink. What's getting paired with that?
That's what I'm telling you when it comes to that. I'm not a big drinker with those setups.
Whatever you're drinking with it. What's the drink to go with it?
So honestly, for me, I'll always be okay with the straight whiskey. You can give me a straight shot of some good stuff, and I'm okay. I'm pretty easy, convenient on that one.
Okay, sounds good. Who's next?
I'll go next. Like I what Tass described, like I think it's important for me to differentiate like what I would love to be able to have, but then what I actually do have more often. What I'd love to be able to have, and it's a rare occasion for like health reasons, particularly, but like would be really good steak, like just like a good steak. I'm not super sensitive on how it's prepared, other than I'd prefer medium rare, trending a little more towards rare, and then a good red wine. Again, like you mentioned, probably a cab with it. I really enjoy that combo. But more often than that, like I'll tend to do like salmon. I like salmon, and a dry cider. I like dry cider generally. Like I don't want it to be too sweet, but that combo I tend to really enjoy.
Yeah. It's to Sasha to that. Like my partner several times last fall made salmon with the same apple cider, hard apple cider.
Oh, neat.
Yeah. Like when you said that, I was like, oh yeah, definitely just had that last fall. Like, yeah, dude, that's so good. That's awesome.
All right, Fatal. How about you? What's the lineup? The protein and the drink. Oh, we got the drink from Sasha. That's right. We got him. How about you, Fatal?
I mean, I'm kind of restricted on what I get to do these days. I would say I do enjoy I enjoy a solid steak or like I mean, butter chicken as well. Although I don't know that I can make butter chicken like a consistent thing for a variety of reasons, but that tends to be excellent. But just daily carries, more so just your run of the mill, whatever garlic or seasoning you want to put on your chicken. I tend to try to stay away from red meats, even though I do enjoy them. Seems like a good thing to be doing. Drink wise, can't drink booze anymore, but right towards the end, before, like literally like a month before I popped the news, I realized just how much I enjoyed tequila. So that it was like a sudden late blooming appreciation, then immediately got the rug pulled on it. But yeah, I was a bourbon drinker before that. Now I'm just coffee and occasionally diet soda.
Fair, but if you were sitting down to either one of the proteins you mentioned, what's the drink to pair? Surely not coffee.
There aren't terribly many choices like that anymore, so just drink as a caffeine delivery system. I don't know, man. Maybe just like an iced tea.
There it is.
I enjoy tea. It's just, for whatever reason, doesn't give me the caffeine quite the same. But there's a lot of good herbal stuff out there.
Yeah, I don't get the refreshment angle that I want out of the caffeine. If it's hot, it's got to be. I mean, I can do tea, but I don't feel the kick. Even though I know tea usually, especially black tea, which I do have, usually has more caffeine than coffee. I just find that I do feel it more out of the coffee. But if it's cold, yeah, it can't be tea. It's not enough. Not enough.
The only tea I can drink cold is green tea and not feel, or iced tea, obviously, but like green tea I can drink cold and it's pretty good still.
I know it's probably just junk food, but Arnold Palmer in the summer is like hard to compete with.
Fair enough. Yeah, this was your preference, so you can't be wrong.
I do have a follow-up question to this because I've noticed this in myself, and I think we're all kind of in the same age bracket, mid-30s to mid-30s to 40 kind of thing, right? Do you guys find yourselves getting smaller portions when you go out for like steak? I used to get like a 20-ounce steak years ago, and now I'm just happy with like an 8-ounce. Or do you guys still find yourselves getting a larger steak?
I mean, I still usually stick with something like a 12. Like I was younger yet when I would make a deliberate effort to have a 20 ounce. Because if I see a steak that I really like that is a big steak, I don't look at it with the I'm one shotting this when it arrives on the plate in front of me, right? So and I absolutely adore steak and eggs, so I'm not losing either way.
I've definitely found I guess what I'm saying is I've definitely found myself getting smaller protein portions when I go out.
Fair.
Yeah, for sure. As ghost of your Christmas futures, because I'm definitely meaningfully older than you guys. I will say that trend generally continues. So yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't even like a conscious thought. It was just I would see it and it's like, I want this instead. And I got the smaller and it's like, that was still good. And I'm down to about 8-ounce. A 6 to 8 ounce steak is now good for me, and that's 20-year-old me would be disappointed in me.
I believe it. I do. All right. Appreciate that one, guys. Next item for 3 versus. This is from Smedge. For 3 versus 3, what comps for specific FDCs? Will they have viability on defense? So we already covered the ones that we really wanted to hit earlier. Although, to be fair, guys, we didn't specifically mention Wookiees. Did Wookiees have any specific legs? I know, for example, in our last episode, Fatal, you were not wowed by the new Nihilist Kron, but maybe here in 3 versus 3, after set 25 being gone, any new thoughts there? Are there any of the other FDCs specifically that you guys didn't make mention of that are worthy mentions now?
The Nihilist Kron is good, to be clear. It's just extremely fucking boring. But he plays it like you use it against Riva, and you will have an easier time beating Riva, for example. Yeah, Wookiees, I could give a shout out that like I slapped a 398% defense cron on them. That's a pretty good thing to be doing. The results were pretty good, as well as the shout out that the set 28 buffs when you press a button basically lets you either bench or just be a better Clone Wars Chewie, or just every time you press a button, your team heals 50-50 of each.
That is insane. You're right. That was a metric I meant to, or a mechanic I meant to call out, Fatal. That on a special, you generate health up, which is done in the FTC as this will force them to roster and use Clone War Chewie, because among Chewie's kind of useless activities generally is he does put health up, and it says anytime health up is gained by any Wookiee, everybody gets 50% prot and 50% health, right? So you're getting 50% prot and health every time any Wookiee's not Wookiee. I think it was that off Mercs. Is it Fatal? But anytime a Merc, and there are a couple of good options for Mercs in there, use a special. There's like an insane like OP heal that comes to the squad. Isn't that right?
Yeah, 50% health and protection, and I posted a picture. This is not a promise. This is not me advocating, but just showing you stuff that's happening on my phone and machine. Look at the timer.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much I'm going to use Wookiees in 3 specifically, but I definitely have plans for them down the road.
I think Wookiees are better in 3s than 5s is going to be my guess long term.
I think that's only if you're willing to give up Zalbar, though, right?
I think you should be giving them Zalbar.
Yeah, I don't think it's that tall of an ask when you can definitely find a profitable for DR outside of DRZ.
My personal read. Well, okay. Actually, you know what? Fuck what I just said. Fuck me.
Right.
2026 Galaxy of Heroes is choose what sounds fun to you. That we are kind of past the point of newest, latest just being like undeniable power. The thing that I will say for Wookiees versus DR Zalbar is DR Zalbar takes away 3 banners immediately, and I think that's bad. I think that's a bad thing to be doing. But the team is obviously still quite good, so like follow your heart. If that gives you joy, then enjoy.
And it is an effective draw on defense. Like yes, it is going to get destroyed by Gungans. Fortunately for you, there's like a million Gungans targets you can sit down.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I'm feeling pressure on like those 12 to like 16 to 17 teams, right? I get to place 15 of them, and I think Wookiees are probably in that like bottom third. DRZ is probably a little bit lower than the bottom third. I'm not arguing. I think Zalbar probably is better on Wookiees, but man, I don't have mod equity in them right now. I would have to fix that, I think.
Might be worth looking into.
I think. Oh, Sasha's gone. The other Wookiee interested person is missing.
What? Hold on. I will not endure this slander because I have put them in proper mods, I believe. Speed, health, defense on Tarful. You've got Zalbar still in mostly a defense health kind of setup. And then what? The Yoda and Chewie. I don't know what's different, but I have high health, 356 speed, and some armor.
Yeah, I also just checked, and I actually have like really good mods on my Wookiees too. So I guess I forgot that I remodded them when the new one came out.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I do actually have good mod equity on my Wookiees because the Yoda and Chewie guy is like 360, and Zalbar is still like absolutely just like gonna fuck people up.
Out.
Yeah, I still have in the tenacity and defense modding. Yeah, never mind. I completely forgot that I had remodded this team
with the
expectation to use it and then just never use them.
Very good. Sorry though, Fatal, you were winding up to say something here about the modding.
We're on a podcast, so words speak louder than actions, and Sasha is the one who was yapped about them the most. So I stand my ground.
That's fair. No, that's fair. I'm a notorious Wookiee hater, mostly because I don't want them to be good, mostly because I don't want to have to put effort into them.
As I say, he's been living on hope on Wookiees before it was cool. Before there was even a lifter unit to it.
Yeah, he was the Wookiee guy before we had Tarful kind of guy.
Fair enough.
No, I was just gonna say, I think the future for Wookiees is, I think Wookiees are actually going to be strongest in DW. Just straight up. Darful Omicron.
100% true. That, like, understatement of how true that is.
It's fucked. It is unbelievably fucked how good Tarful. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think this is because of Yoda and Chewie. I am pretty sure what this release basically was is CG knowing that the Wookiees were pretty good, and this was just like them trying to nudge you into the pool of like, look, you fucks aren't investing in Wookiees, and like that's understandable, but like have a confidence booster. Because it's not that Yoda and Chewie is bad, but the shit that they are doing is not because of him. It's because, hey, you finally gave them relics and mods at a Datacron. Wow, shocker. So, yeah. Tarful Omicron may have just always been good. Is kind of where I'm at right now.
Mm-hmm. I don't like that, but I also respect it.
Very fair.
It's kind of hard to argue at the moment. From the one time that I use it, it was just like I could have just pressed auto and walked away. Frankly, it just.
Oh, I don't disagree that they're good. I'm just grumpy that it's another team I have to learn.
Well,
and put effort into putting better mods on. Because I still probably put better mods on my Tarful.
Maybe a strong word. We'll see.
Sure.
My Tarful has kind of boo-boo mods I need to fix.
All right. Well, I think we've done a good faith effort about answering that FTC question. I don't know which other ones really would have jumped out at me, so fair enough. Next one here from Magicon. No idea if this one is in time. Yep, you made it. You're still in time to catch this. With it being the second time around in 3 versus 3 with the new characters from the last era, are there any of the 3 versus 3 Omicrons that are going to be worth investing in?
Both of them.
What are the... Well, you have Stormtrooper Luke, and who's the other one that's 3 versus...
Barriss.
Barriss, Inquisitor Barriss? Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Luke is much better than Barriss, but they're both
right.
good.
That's what I wanted to go with. To me, get your Omicrons because also they're also 50% off if you want to air quote it. But
they also refunded everybody.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's 10 Omis for this.
Yeah, so
if you're at our level, you should be having both because I agree with they're better. But that Luke one is night and day better. And a part of what makes that so great and why I'm so excited for the team ties into the Kron as well.
All right. Other thoughts on that? Please.
So, Phil?
I think Barriss is not that good. I don't remember applying it, and I wish I hadn't.
But what are your thoughts about the Luke one though, Fatal?
Yeah, I mean it's a 3-3 power team. Put the 57 on the bag.
Yeah, I think that this Inquisitor Barriss Kron, while we have the FDC, so it's only here for another 2 months, it's probably going to do more, more than less. And what I mean by that is once the FDC's gone, I do actually question the value of this team. Not because Inquisitor Barriss isn't an actually really strong character. She is. It's just Second Sister needs a lot of help to be an effective damage dealer. And if it's Barriss Second Sister, Ninth Sister, and without a Kron specifically adding more into their abilities, I don't see it being an effective anything.
I actually think I think it was you, Fatal, who said it, and I like the idea of it. Her on the Malicos team or something else, I feel like has some pretty good weight. Again, I'm not talking the Omicron, just utilization for the character. I like her kit and the setup. The heal, the crit damage pull, and she feels really good. She was a lock when she was in 5s, but in 3s, I could still see being Seer Malicos and her doing some work.
I will say that I think that the team is slightly underrated because I think people are assuming that the FTC is doing a ton of heavy lifting. And I'm not saying it's great. I'm just saying that TJ has convinced me to put on other Omicrons with less. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, like, if you find yourself in need of another team that is going to beat up all the teams that your opponent shouldn't be setting, this team is pretty good banners, and they're pretty good at killing those teams. So when I say it's good, I mean it's reasonable. It's going to be one of the top 35 to 40 teams in 3v3. You're going to use it a lot. Is it, to TJ and Fatal's point, is it going to be game breaking or taking on important matchups for you? No. But we put on Omicrons for less.
Yes, that is factual. And it's only 10. That's my big key that I go back to. It's like, it's only 10 Omis.
Luke is the one that's going to be meta, but just like Zam, just like Qui-Gon, you know, who knows how long it will be, right? Like, I have Omis that I put on that were semi-impactful for like 3 months. You know what I mean? Like, so it all depends on where you're at. Hey, well, welcome back, Sasha. We're gonna rewind this conversation a little bit and let you talk about Wookiees a little bit, because we talked extensively about them, and I think we all would like to hear you wax poetically about your Wookiees.
Well, it is a favorite topic. Sorry to have stepped out. It clearly, for me personally, was the wrong time. If it was a Wookiee moment, but I do agree. I mean, I think that the natural tension in threes is going to be, where does Zalbar go? And unfortunately, with the way the Wookiees work, they're way worse without Big Z. So I do think Big Z goes there. I think there's a ton of potential for them as like real high punch up counters, and that includes, like, you know, Fatal had alluded to it. I mean, obviously they greatly appreciate a ton of defense on Datacrons, and then with that the buffs on special level 6 for, I think it was Mercs, maybe it was Scoundrels. Is it Mercs? But the one that that creates that health up has such survivability that combination is phenomenal. So, like, again, like it steamrolls in Squad Arena Leia, which perhaps not many people set, but I love it. So big fan. And yeah, I think Clone Wars Chewie, probably comes out, but I'm a big fan.
You
Sorry,
alluded
what's
to
that?
it. I wanted to ask you, Sasha, because you alluded to it when we were talking about it. Are you saying it's the Wookiees with the Zalbar level 9? Because it would be Merc. So it is that. Is it that? Because it's got survivability a lot, or is it the FDC that you're applying on that one?
Neither. So for the infant, sorry, go ahead, Phil.
No, sorry. I'm fucking that was my trauma speaking out. Zalbar 9 is ass.
Yeah.
I have
it's
two
counterproductive.
I only asked because
defense and they both natty rolled Zalbar 9, and I would have to spend 80 reroll mass to get those fuckers off, and I am so fucking sad about it.
So I only asked Sasha because he talked about the Merc level 6 and the survivability. So then I'm like, okay, are you talking about FDC or are we talking about the Mercron?
Sorry,
for that. Yeah, sorry. For that, it's the Mercron. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, it's either Merc or Scoundrel, but I believe it's Merc. And to Fatal's point, the level 9 Zalbar, at least when I said totally counterproductive. I mean, you know, Zalbar hits like an absolute monster, but he does it because his defense is ramped, and that defense is converted into offense. For his defense to ramp, particularly without the FDC does a nice job of, every time a tank taunts, there's this stacking 10% defense that's maybe it's 20, I think it's 10% defense, but it just stacks unlimited and eventually hits like an absolute beast. Without that FDC, you are going to have him get hit to be able to ramp his D, so that he does these enormous nukes, like the kind that Fatal had shared in chat previously, where you're literally seeing like 7-figure AoE damage to R9 characters and seeing GLs disappear. So to that point, TJ, yeah, just as Fatal said, like it's not only that I don't want it, like I think you're much worse without it, because I think it gives him foresight. Every time somebody regains prot, people are regaining prot left and right. People aren't hitting your Zalbar, they're missing on him, and he doesn't ramp his defense, and no nuke for you.
Do you think there's any spot for that level 9 if it's with like Darth Revan?
Maybe, but I don't really see it.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I was
it would
simply.
feel like the
I don't.
inferior use with the Wookiee FDC on the table, right?
I don't think the Dark
All I'm
Threaded
saying
team
is
regenerates their protection all that much.
Yeah, I was only asking
There's no
insofar
BSF,
as they're like in 5v5, some people use Zalbar with their Ray, right? Like, I'm curious in some of those situations. While I agree it's not useful on the Tarful team, I was curious if there were any uses for it elsewhere.
I just want to comment. There's no BSF on it. I know you're saying that, Sasha. Like, you don't get to do the BSF in threes with that, so the protection regen is out. So, at least to that point of what you were talking about.
That's fair.
Yeah,
That's
I
fair.
don't see it, Dagger. I just
Okay.
I don't see it, and at the same time, yeah, I mean, Zalbar is always a bit of a tempting third on your random assorted Ray squads, but his Wookiee utility with Chota and Tarful is tough to top. I mean, I think the potential's really high.
Can I just say, and I don't think I may have said it on the show before, I fucking hate what we call Chewie and Yoda, and I understand that we don't have something better, but ugh.
Except
Chewing
the
Yoda.
Chota.
Yeah.
Take the Chota within yourself and
you just take
accept
that to the house. All right, you just go leave it for what it is, and you move on with your life.
Yeah, it's okay. I'll say it once, move on. Yeah, I was just curious because I'm going to end up taking some number of mercenary crons to level 9 to re-roll them. So, not saying I have a Zalbar level 9. I was just curious how critical it was to essentially just roll off it.
Well, I think it makes it tough because there's not a lot of great Merc. There are some Merc 9s, but this feels like the set that's giving love back to the dark side finally versus the light side. So I'm all in for that. And I know Fatal talked about it. He's looking for a lot of the 25% and then defense. And it's like, yeah, because we don't really get to see that. That is a rarity when that comes out.
This is the second time we've had turn meter for dark side.
They don't love dark side and Swiggle, which is weird.
Well,
I like that they largely keep certain types of threes thematically light or dark. I don't mind that for the most part. It feels nice. It feels special that it's back for dark.
Well, to TJ's point though, go filter your roster by light side and dark side, and I'd be willing to wager that 60 to 65% of the characters in this game are light. Look at the Rebel faction and the Jedi faction, then go look at the Empire faction and the Sith faction.
Fatal, sorry, you were trying to say.
I think for a lot of teams, it tends to skew that like dark side is stronger baseline. I mean, like the LSTM DSTM thing is like, see, the Datacron system has been like Spider-Man stopping the train at the front of it with the shirt ripping, like fucking trying to save Ahsoka Tano's career from Great Mothers for like 2 years now.
Yeah, and that's a good one. That's a good one, man. The Great Mothers, that is like a perfect call out.
Yeah,
or if you're doing that, you might as well go back to Saw because they've before it was cool. Saw had a cron, I think, set after set after set for so long. And again, not taking anything what you did with the whole character and everything, but Saw was being propped up by Datacrons for a long time before we had other characters to help him out.
Yeah. All right, guys. Next question here. Let's see. From Supermard. For a serious one, what era would you like to see after this one? And then specifically, what characters would you want to see in it?
Pretty sure they already said we're getting Mando after this, but give me KOTOR. KOTOR 2 specifically. Come on. Fuck it.
Is the answer business related or is it just want?
It's what you want to see. It's what you want. What does your heart most desire, TJ? Tell us.
Okay. I don't do KOTOR, but I would love to see the perfect Revan as like the GL. To me, the whole idea of the setup is been cool coming from a guy who didn't do KOTOR. The idea of Jedi Knight Revan and what it brought out and what it brought to the Star Wars universe deserves to see the perfect Revan come up and do something dynamic where it's like maybe a tie-in between Jedi and Sith. And when this combination goes together, that would be fun to live the true freestyle setup of this is the universe that you get to play in.
Yeah, Revan Reborn is something I think that I eventually want as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like TJ said, give him a leadership that applies to Sith and Jedi, and then also turns everyone's tags, all the Jedi tags, get Sith added, and all of the Sith tags get Jedi added. So he has like the double leadership bonus to everyone under him, kind of thing.
Just an idea of you getting to go back to a freestyle game of I want to put this character with this character. Oh, we're gonna put Traya in here and she's right alongside, let's say, Yoda, or just dynamics that would make the fight interesting and actually bring change to what you're trying to do. That would open up such a big array of characters and setups.
We're gonna play the game called How Many Teams Can You Cannibalize with One GL?
And I bet you everybody would do it with a smile on their face.
Dude, can you imagine Jedi Revan doing his mass assist and calling Darth Revan and Revan Reborn to assist?
Just the idea of bringing the lore together is just that's fun. And why you play Swigo, it's not to tell me what to play with. I want to play with characters and bring out some different variety. That's the idea of theory crafting alone would be huge.
There's also a part of me that wants both Bastilas unique, Force Bond unique to apply to Revan Reborn. So you just have a Revan Bastila. Look, I'm a relatively simple man, so I'll leave the complex thoughts to Fatal.
All right, who's next? What's another era that you guys would like to see? I'll jump in. I know I've mentioned them in other ways, and I guess now in a post-era version of the game, I could adapt this thought to eras. Call it a young Jedi Knights era. I'm talking about the Legends novel series, the young adult novel series.
Oh, yeah.
You're talking about Jason Solo, Tenelka. There's a few other characters that stick out. There's a handful of them, maybe 3 to 5, enough to make a 5-man team, right? There's a couple Dathomiri characters in there that are of note, like good stuff in that series. I mean, I read it when I was a kid. It's been forever, but I know that they could pull that out of Legends, and it'd be fun to see. It'd be fun to see. We've already got some what if characters, so why not that?
Exar Kun. They even had Exar Kun in that series too, so you could have him be the era unit.
Wow, that would be incredible to have that culminate. Yeah, Exar Kun. It's tough
Jedi
to
Temple,
keep adding Sith. Anyway, sorry.
No, I was just saying, like you were winding up to say, I think what I was going to say is it's a good way to shoehorn in another Sith because they are pretty bad at getting Sith into this game.
I wasn't even saying that. It's that I hope that more Sith. I love Sith, so it's cool that they come to the game. It's just, how do you keep adding them to the game without making them be more like Darth Bane style characters? I don't know. Anyway, we'll see.
We already have Jason Solo in the game.
Is this a Ben Solo comment?
No, it's not.
No,
it's
I
Legends.
believe he's. I think Fatal is right.
Yeah. It doesn't count. The timeline branched one way, and the Ben Solo is the other way. That's it. How about you, though, Fatal? Since you chimed in, an era you're looking forward to, specific units you want to see in that era?
I don't know. I don't think I get this far.
A man without dreams.
Well, the dreams kept coming true. Well, okay. if I'm going to be the brat on Christmas, we did get Jedi Master Mace Windu. It was not based on Shatterpoint. It was based on whatever the recent book was that I have not heard anybody talk about. So technically, the base that my heart was hoping for did not end up happening. I don't know. I mean, Jedi Survivor. Just put the Baron in the bag, print some money. Easy money.
That is true.
Okay.
They would print so much money with Lightside Marin, it wouldn't even be fun.
Make her a good Lusufu, a first for this game.
Yeah.
Just like make her dunk on Visa. She just deletes Visas from the game. It's like, oh, you thought
No
Yeah.
respect for
she could
visas.
run with Stranger, Mercy, or whoever be good on all of them, and CG Hyman.
Fair enough. All right, Sasha. Sorry.
Oh, really quick, just to clarify, I want the companions from KOTOR 2 because I didn't even think of the. I want the 5 companions and I want the and I want Atris. And Mitra Cirque be the unlock. Sorry.
Okay. So you're thinking what, like an enhanced marquee, like a DVD for your Revan Reborn, or what?
No, Revan Reborn's the GL that this leads up to.
Oh, I see. Okay, it's even on the.
Yeah. But I want the era unit to be Mitra Cirque. I want Atris to be an enhanced marquee, and I want 5 of the 5 companions that aren't Karth and aren't Canderous.
I assume Crayon is it.
Yeah, Crayon would have to be.
I want her to be her own unit. I don't necessarily want her in there.
Yeah, but I mean, she's gonna be in relation to the era system. So you can have your wild fantasy, but have it within the rules.
She would have to be the era unit. Yeah, she'd have to be the era.
Okay, there it is.
Fine. Mitra Cirque would be the elevated marquee like DVDE. Fine.
Okay. All right. Wow, that does feel dirty.
She was a follower. I feel like it could go the other way around.
I could agree with that too, because I don't think Kreia was all that. Like, she's good, but like, and she's a fan favorite. But as far as like a power in the Force to rank her over Mitra Surik,
she was literally
how
like
we unlocked Darth Vader again.
Sorry.
Remind me how we unlocked Darth Vader again and Jedi Knight Anakin.
Money?
I didn't.
They were achievement characters for free.
Okay. Well, yeah, but that was also like 10 years ago, bro.
I'm just saying that we've had plenty of characters that are stronger than these
They can do it better than they used to do it. They are not shackled by the mistakes of the past.
I want Kreia to be a GL. If
right,
Jabba can be a GL, Kreia can be a GL.
That's the cope we needed. All right.
Yeah.
I can take that. Sasha, how about you?
Sorry.
Your fantasy era specific units you want to see.
I gotta say, I mean, I my primary reaction to that is just gratitude for being in the era I really wanted. I love the Andor era. I love Andor as a show, and I'm delighted that they moved pretty quickly. That they've come up with, I think, some interesting kits with characters that I really enjoy, that have meaning to me just in the Star Wars universe and just as like fictional characters I like. If there was something else, it's more sort of a character than an era, but I guess there are a couple of examples. But I really feel like we missed out when they did the Solo stuff, and there are long conversation to be had on Solo and its reaction and response from people. But Tobias Beckett, the Woody Harrelson character, was a character that I really thought was interesting, had some potential depth, and I would have been very happy to have seen in the game as a means to boost some of the Solo characters. Maybe Dryden Voss as like a dark side or bad guy counterpart. But I miss Tobias Beckett not being in the game.
No, I like that, and truly,
100%.
I like he is what Silvo should have been in terms of what I wanted from like Silvo in that show.
Yeah.
So completely agree with you there.
Yeah, and no offense to the Woody Harrelson character, but if I had to pick one, I would pick Dryden Voss because I really love his unique weapons, and giving him like a unique synergy with Kira would be really cool.
Sure.
That being said, I agree. It's like I remember it was years ago the devs said that they had like some plans, like some initial like character kit things for Beckett, but because of the Solo reception, they ended up like not working on it, which does make me sad because I'm pretty sure they said that they had like a legendary in mind for those guys to unlock, and then they just scrapped it and gave a Smuggler's Run.
All right. I think we caught everybody, right? We got you, TJ, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, it was a tack on for
That's
the
right. That's right. Okay, let's see here. I think we are down to... Let's see. Oh, yeah. All right. Crick Frack Paddywhack says, do you think defenses will do better after the set 25 dust, since people got used to the set 25 attacker firepower, especially with the introduction of defense stats? That's to the room.
No. I think that the biggest thing is, TJ mentioned this a couple times, it's relearning the game. I don't think defenses are going to get worse. I don't think defenses are going to get better. I just think we're going to have to remember what counters worked before set 25. I think set 25 enabled certain teams to do certain things both on offense and defense. So I think it's going to end up being a wash overall because you're losing power on defense, but you're also losing power on offense. So I don't think the defense teams are going to suffer. And I mentioned on your stream the other day that I think defense this set has diminishing returns. 1, because of Relic Delta. 2, because we discussed at length the defense cap. And 3, because it doesn't seem like it's as big of numbers. And 4, because we have less teams. So there are less off counters necessary, even though defense historically has stymied off counters. And I'll just kind of...
Yeah, the amount of defense is weaker than past. Fair. Anybody else? More thoughts on this question? Will defenses do better?
Like,
sorry, go ahead.
No, I think it's just different. I don't. You can't quote the term different or better just because it just changes up the dynamic.
Yeah,
I don't know where you get
the
to
biggest
say
better. I agree. Like the biggest better you're going to get is just people being caught off guard, both setting and attacking with not their favorite set 25 Gron.
Yeah, like we saw. Like we talked about Forlum and Zuckus, it was doing okay even when set 25 was here. There were things that were going to catch you off guard. The catch you off guard does feel like the accurate statement, but it's even when we were doing all of these things, you still have so many tools on a board that even in threes is getting smaller. You're starting to run out of room, even with more characters and all that, because we have too much stuff.
Fair. Mm-hmm. Other thoughts on this, gentlemen?
Yeah, I just don't think. Unless a drastic change happens, or unless like a Datacron set rolls along that just introduces a bunch of really good teams at once, I just don't think you're ever going to see defense be good. If the question is saying better as in like a short-term correction where more holds are cropping up as people have forgotten how to play, yeah, possibly. But like actually better, no. I mean, we were literally where we picked up before set 25 existed was because defense wasn't viable, and I had to figure out a way to make beat cheesers at their own game without necessarily cheesing. I'm like, that's only going to get worse as there's more teams. So there are a lot more teams now.
True. Fair enough. Any other comments to add on this question, guy?
You will see more holds if people are trying to learn to use the new teams. That'll also be a part of it. Again, just talking about learning and like, hey, what's this team do, and limit testing and shit like that.
Right. You knew you knew when you were going in that there could be something that could cost you and you might drop. But yeah, I think the only ones where people are going to be getting caught off guard are their teams that they were using set 25 crons to punch up into something they knew that was a better grade of team. Those folks that are they might know it would be risky, but if they're thinking they're going to pull it off, they might get caught short shrift. All right. If there's nothing else on that one from you guys, I see one more that I missed. This one should be pretty quick. Last one here from Shadow. DVDE seems like he'll be an absolute menace in threes. What are you guys' plans for tackling this team? First, can we establish a baseline on what we think, whether or not it's actually a good defensive team? Let us assume that it is on defense for the purpose of the question. What's the best comp for that to be? I'm thinking that if you don't just have EP Mara Jade and DVDE, I think if you try to drop Mara Jade for a tank, you just have no momentum at all. Well, what are we thinking first is the comp?
Well, I think the team is significant. First off, I think the team is significantly worse in threes than it is in fives. Like orders of magnitude worse.
Sure, fine.
And that's because it's a 4-man team. And without Mary Jade or without a tank, you're going to struggle to function versus many different things that are trying to beat it.
Sure.
I think you're probably going to set. I remember last season, I was setting tank instead of MJ, and it felt better than setting MJ because if you didn't set MJ, like if you set MJ, you get a little more velocity out of the gate. But if you don't set if you set MJ, they can just open up on EP, then kill Vader.
Yeah.
So like, I'm with Fatal. I don't think DVDE is that great of a character. I think this Datacron is hard carrying everything about him and his team. And I think after the Datacron rotates, he will be an okay offensive option.
Sure. So, but you're saying though, just in brief, as far as comp goes, you would set Royal.
I think I would.
Okay.
It didn't feel great, but it felt better than setting Mary Jade last.
What does the rest of the room think about that?
Sorry, really quick. Otherwise, Maz just walks it over because they don't have to get around Royal Guard. They just go after EP, then go after Vader, and they're both Sith.
Mm-hmm. What do you guys? What do the rest of the room think about comp though? Mara Jade or a tank? Which tank is it? Is it obviously going to be Royal, or would you go with Shore? What are we thinking there?
I don't know if there's enough sustainability. Just because you're not having, all you have to do is just not take people who are going to multi-tack. And as long as you don't do that, they're kind of just going to sit there without Mary Jade.
Yeah,
and so what do you do that gets ahead of that, right? So just don't do any bonus turn shenanigans. But DTMG should still beat that. It was already a close enough win.
You're skipping the assignment, young man. We're still trying to get consensus.
I'm telling you, I don't see
counters next.
I don't know because if you're saying that, because then you could say Shore because you're trying to stay crit immunity and you're trying to get the pre-taunt. Even though I know Royal Guard taunts, there was talk of the crit immunity and Shore could do things and also help with turn meter because of the fact he's taunting. So there could be merit there. But I agree, you need your engine to go. And you need to protect your team so EP doesn't get touched and you're just left with the hatred. You can't get all of those things. Now on offense, I know we're not talking about that. On offense, you can exploit that. But here, without both tools, EP, dude, you could E17. You could hit level 7, relic 17 on EP, and that dude is still a squishy man. Poor little feller.
Okay. All right. Fatal, Sasha, thoughts?
Well, the DVD is very good. I don't think his Kron is even that good in 5v5. I have low expectations here as well. I feel like I remember hearing at the end of last 3v3, someone fought it with Rados and won, and I was just like, yeah, sounds about right.
Okay.
The data doesn't suggest that is reliable, but yeah, it had a few counters there at the end. And I don't think it's as good as people thought it was in 5e.
And Sasha, what do you think is your comp for DVD if it's seen on defense? What do you think is the better one?
If I were to set it, it probably would be with Royal Guard, and the idea is hopefully they don't read kits and they attack out of turn. And
that's right.
It gives you a chance to hang around long enough to perhaps bleed some banners, but yeah, it's not a team that I'd be quite as strongly as I think the general sentiment in the community is right now.
Oh, yeah. All right. So we've come to an agreement that it sounds like a consensus opinion, not necessarily unanimous, is tank in there. So that being said, to counter it then, what jumps right out to you? I think, yes, especially with tank and not really having any risk of getting lapped and locked down, I think DTMG is an easy dunk. What say you guys?
There's also Maz. There's also, the Balin Kron exists, so if you don't have that up week 1, you can do like Balin Shin Han, which will probably be more than reasonable.
Yeah, I thought Balin was expensive because of that Balin Kron. That I wouldn't even put that in the.
I'm saying if you don't have it,
I know what you're saying.
I won't have the Balin Kron for week 1.
Yeah, but it's like I was trying to keep it low. Like even to me, DTMG is pretty high up there because I feel like there's use for what it's trying to do. But yeah, ETMG was already beating it. Nothing changes that. Maz was already beating it. I don't think anything changes that. I think the same things that we're doing in 5s is going to work here in 3s. And then with less characters, if you don't, I'd like to see it, and I'm kind of pausing, but I still think AdRad in 3s, because you have all the other things, you get to sit around. And getting to sit around, you don't like that against AdRad. You don't want to be hanging out for a longer period of time, and you get to do that with just the 3 characters because you get to exploit. You're not doing a lot of bonus turns. You're not doing a lot of attack out of turns. You're just kind of waiting, and then hope builds, and then they're gone.
I think AdRad's good against the MJ variant. It's much better against the MJ variants. I think they're going to be less good in 3v3 against the Royal Guard variants, but yeah, they'll have some legs.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I could even think of the team if you want to get more specific. AdRad, you're just going to put what's your name in there? The Kara. Kara's going to lock you down and just keep that team held. We have potency built in to Crons, so you don't have to get Cron dependent.
Saw's going to beat this team.
For sure.
I'm
trying to get lower.
Probably without Luthen.
I'm trying to get lower, right? Because I think Saw has merit for higher things. I'm trying to go down as far as I can go. And
Saw this season, it's basically like Mace or this EP team. That's like its ceiling this season, I think, unless Fatal has an objection.
Sorry, I had to read something. Repeat that last.
Oh, I said I think Saw is basically just going to be used to underman things like Darth Vader, this new Darth Vader team, or Mace. I don't know if he has higher legs this season.
My biggest fear going into this was I thought Saw was going to struggle hard against defense crons. Apparently not. Apparently CG just said what defense crons. So
sorry.
Yeah, I was working on Saw versus DVD in 5v5. That had some bumps, but those bumps would be very, very smoothed out by because I was running undersized. It was 4v5. And if I just slap Kyle Katarn in there and I give him the Kyle Katarn 9, hey, that I would imagine that is going to make life a lot easier. Past that, like in 3v3, Cara Dune. I know a lot of people were hyped about Cara Dune at that matchup. I am nervous to trust that woman. You are hurling that grenade and saying, boy, I sure hope this stuff doesn't get resisted. And you could be potent. And you could be fast. And you could be fast and you could be potent. But sometimes that grenade just does not happen, and I don't know if I want to bank my season on that.
Yeah,
so well, then what's the better alternative is the real question.
I don't know. I haven't thought ahead that far.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, I think the Kyle Luthen thing he mentioned is probably some decent legs. But my whole point was I don't think Saw has a super high calling this 3v3 season. So I think just assigning him to DVDE it is probably just fine.
I'm going to put more respect on his name. That's where I guess I'll just differ. Is I think he could do more with Saw.
What are you beating this better? What we
won't see till post week 1. Give me week 1 data, and then I'll give you my thoughts on where we're at with it. But mechanically, hold on. You asked a question. Mechanically, he's been able to do things up into Queen if you want me to go just off loop. And because people aren't going to be able to just use Queen to go, oh, this is auto Ray. And people aren't really feeling it because that 25 is dead. I think it'll kill Ray. Queen. I think that Saw still has places to be used because there are a sprinkling of between the 3 different DCs you have used to make him. And I think he can punch up higher than we're giving it credit for, is all I'm saying.
That's fair.
All right, well, let me take us back around, guys. That was the end of Patron Questions. So thank you guys for submitting all those. We did manage to capture them all this time. All right, it is over to takeaways and final thoughts. So, I mean, for my part, it sounds like I am a little less prepared than most of you plan to be going into this first week. So I have to catch up to my peers here on the show. Try and have something like 12 to 15 of these crons because there are a couple where you might have interest in having doubles. Different level 3 or a different level 6, possibly both. I have to keep those in mind. There's some advantage to be had there going into the first week. Aside from that, I do intend to scout out the Datacrons of several other top players to make sure that not only do I have just the right 369, but take a look at which crons other players are putting focus in terms of their rerolls. Monkey see, monkey do works for me just fine. Dagger, how about you? Your takeaways and final thoughts.
Honestly, I'm glad that the GAC season is starting again because there's a lot of shit going on in the world, and it's sometimes better to just have a distraction. So in that vein, it's nice to have GAC, and I think, I mean, you said I'm not like I'm in the same boat as you, sort of, Tash, when it comes to catching up because I didn't really buy I haven't bought the what do you call it, the calendar yet, so I'm still behind on my Datacron farming, so to speak. I was waiting to basically have this episode because I mean I don't feel as, anyways, neither here nor there. I don't feel it as, I don't feel the pinch for Datacrons, especially now that I have like 55 Datacrons total without this set. So as I said before, I just don't feel a huge pinch. So I'll get the couple crons I want and work up some of the other ones on week 2. Yeah. One thing I will say that I am looking forward to this season, outside of set 25 going away, is being able to get a read on a season again. Because it's been a few months since we've even had anything to like read in on a season, right? Because the meta really hasn't shifted the last 4 months outside of the new marquees. So I'm looking forward to having like a new, I don't want to say meta, but have a new season where like you can get rewarded or punished for getting in on the ground floor or initially understanding what the season is going to be about. And I guess I said a lot there, so I'll just kind of
peter out.
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
Yeah. Fuck you.
Appreciate you. Over to you.
I have other stuff I want to say, but it's your platform, not mine, and I don't want to get you canceled.
Okay, well, fair enough. I appreciate you getting your thoughts in. TJ, over to you. Your takeaways and final thoughts.
Yeah, I have always been more towards 3v3. Dagger made a good point on sometimes about it because it's like there you get to play a little more freedom. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to having more to play with in that with the Datacrons, the sets, and how you want to set up all your stuff. That's a lot of, to me, new game again. And then how can I try these new setups out? How can we actually try the stuff that we never got to try? Even though what set 26 is basically done after this season, I'm excited to try all of the new things. And then I'm actually really excited to see what week 1 data looks like. Normally I don't want to get there, but it's going to be cool to digest everything. So I'm walking in pretty happy with what we're coming up against.
Sure. Yeah. Good point there too about how different that week 1 data is really going to be. All right. Over to you, Sasha Aisha. Your takeaways and final thoughts.
Yeah, it's similar to TJ. I mean, I'm excited for this, and I think it's a like normal sort of change of season, change of meta, but on steroids because so much of the prior meta was around set 25 and then those go-to counters. I like the question that we touched on about is this going to change defensive viability? And I do think, if nothing else, it just increases the volume and kind of magnitude of the change of counters and familiarity. And that always, that the fog of war that comes with that ends up with more drops, more interesting stuff. Even if I have mostly Erodiums in my bracket, I'm going to enjoy watching matchups from content creators because it will be, I think, a lot of new stuff, and I'm excited for that. And threes, it's got its pros and its cons for sure, but one pro often is you'll with 15 squads out there, you set on the board and kind of one for each side. You do see people sometimes dig a little deeper for creativity and random stuff they set, and that's a real positive for me. So yeah, I'm looking forward to hopefully participating in some of that, but at least getting to see a decent amount of it.
All right, appreciate that. Thank you. And of course, last but never least, over to Fatal. Your takeaways and final thoughts. Last words for the folks at home.
Be a interesting waltz into the weekend. I haven't really sat down with the season yet beyond working hard on the Datacrons set. And because I've kind of figured the Datacrons set and how that went would inform some of my season prep. It just, well, I guess it still is, just not the way that I thought it was going to. Yeah, man, I feel like this is going to be a period of great change. I imagine that when I sit down with the season, it's going to feel kind of like a major correction down in overall power, especially if defense isn't everywhere as I first thought it might be. So, yeah, this might be more of a down to fundamentals, talking team mechanics, throw on DSTM and some good stats, or LSTM or LS bulk or tank revive or whatever have you, and go to town. And I'm kind of down for that. That sounds pretty neat, but I got to figure out what playstyle I want to be doing now that Set 25 is dead, as well as the stuff I was working on before is kind of, I assume, no longer relevant. It's going to be a new direction, a new world for me. I mean, I'm still taking a lot of the lessons still apply, but the work is going to be different. Like I don't just get to pick up on the projects I was doing before, is my assumption.
Yeah, it's the knowledge doesn't transfer 1 to 1, maybe 0.7 to 1, and you have to solve for that new 0.3.
Yeah, the ideas behind it is correct, but I assume the matchups aren't going to probably exist in a lot of the stuff.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. And of course, you will be live streaming your Grand Arena here in week 1. Where can the good folks find you?
Twitch.tv/PlaybookTV, YouTube.com/theplaybook.
Appreciate it. And thanks to you guys here for joining me tonight. Really productive episode. I think there's a lot for me to rattle around getting ready here in the coming days. Thanks again to the patrons for their questions. Was a lot of fun. And of course, if you want to catch me live this week, you already know the place to do it is twitch.tv/Tassenix. I also simulcast from my YouTube channel, Tassenix Gaming, where if you've not been there before, check it out. Whole bunch of Swuggle-related content that you might be interested in. Stuff like the GAC Omicron tier list, the how-to mod guide series, building up your mod collection from scratch, mod guides on characters and factions that you've asked about, all my GAC VODs, and of course, it's a rebroadcasting point for this very podcast. Wherever you catch an episode of Plotting and Scheming, check the description. There's a link that you can use to plug into your preferred podcast program and follow us that way. And of course, anything that you've enjoyed on the YouTube, please hit like, hit subscribe to the channel to see more. Follow me on Twitch. All great ways to support the channel for absolutely free. Really appreciate your viewership. Thank you a lot. And of course, if you want to go above and beyond the Call of Duty to support the channel, there are a few ways to do so. I do have a Cash App. That is $Tassenix. I do have a PayPal. That is tassenix@gmail.com. And if you're interested in getting some enhanced Grand Arena scouting power for yourself, early access to my content, including Plotting and Scheming, and some other benefits besides, you might be interested in becoming a patron. Check out my Patreon page, patreon.com/Tassenix. For any upwardly mobile Grand Arena player, there is something there of interest for you. At $5 a month, you enter the Task House at VIP access level, where you get early access to Plotting and Scheming, which is coming out to our general audience Friday mornings at 8 a.m. Eastern, but patrons have it as early as Monday or Tuesday night, giving you that early advantage going into the first round of the week. I will occasionally make patron-exclusive videos, especially upon request, and they will always be for at least a month, exclusive to patrons, going out from there. Of course, a dedicated text and voice chat on Discord, where I am usually lurking, so pop on in and say hi. Thank you so much to all my patrons here at VIP Access. Moving on up to the $10 a month tier is VIP Access Plus, where you get a bundled Patreon access to me and to your choice of either OmegaBot or Hot Utils Patreon. OmegaBot is that tool that I highlight at the start of all my Grand Arena streams. It's the one with the graphs, giving you an easily understood sense of your opponent's offensive and defensive tendencies. Anybody can use that tool for free to scout their opponent's last week of Grand Arena history, but only patrons can build out a custom report with any number of weeks. You get a downloadable HTML version of that report with embedded links that'll take you right back into Swugga.gg or Insight with data pre-sorted, just helping you further minimize and focus your scouting efforts. Alternatively, you might go for the Hot Utils Patreon, aka Chili subscription, which is your #1 tool for mass mod management and loadout creation. Nothing else lets you switch so easily between your Grand Arena, TB, TW, and Raid mods. You can use it like TJ and Fatal do to comprehensively remod your roster using the powerful automation feature. You can slice through hundreds of mods in seconds, help out your guild in TW, and so much more. There is no wrong way to go at VIP Access Plus. Thank you to all of my patrons here. At the top here at VIP Access Premium, that is $15 a month for the Double Bot Bundle. So Patreon access for me, OmegaBot, and Hot Utils, all under one price. Just going out and getting those 2 bots anywhere else costs the same as this triple bundle, which is why so many of my patrons say it's one of the best values in the game. Thank you so much to all my patrons here at VIP Access Premium. I know you guys enjoy the double bots. At the top of the list here, Ingesters Club Elite, the one, the only Nomad's Reaper, a madman who pops in from time to time and blesses me and the community with hundreds of subs, thousands of biddies, carries hype trains, and so much more. Thank you so much, Nomads. Really appreciate all the support over the years. And then to Pills, who also pops in the noble tradition of Nomads and, drops blessings. 10 subs here, 100 gift subs there. I never quite know what he's going to give, but it is always appreciated. It's always a surprise. Thank you so much. Special thanks first go out to the Lost Womp Rat, one of my patrons who always goes above and beyond the Call of Duty, not just for me, but for the Swugga community at large. Helping us all out with our tech-related issues in the background, whether you're a streamer or not. So thanks for all the time and attention, Womp Rat. To Mrs. T, my wife, thank you for all you do in the background, whether that's bringing me something to eat or drink while I'm live here on stream, or just keeping our daughter from tearing the house apart while I'm trying to be the very best like no one ever was at a phone game. I appreciate you. And again, to my co-hosts here on Plotting and Scheming, Dagger, TJ, Sasha, Aisha, and Fatal. Gentlemen, as ever, it has been my pleasure and privilege to record this episode with you guys. Despite the pressures of work, family, raising kittens, whatever the case may be, you guys still show out for every episode. And, once again, I'm in a position to benefit. I get something from virtually every episode. Hopefully the feeling is occasionally the same for you guys. But regardless, it's not about us. It is about the community tuning into our show. It is rare that a day goes by that I don't get some type of note or comment thanking us for the discussions that we're having on our show. It's helping folks take actionable intelligence into their rounds that they're able to apply, and it helps them win the day. So thank you guys so much for being on this show with me. Almost 3 years in, we are having the effect that we wanted to have on the Grand Arena community, and I wouldn't change a thing. All right, we have made it full circle back to the beginning. And we're still a few days out from the start of this season, but it is a brave new world. The defense, the value of defense in this set is not as strong as it has been in previous sets. It's nice if you can get it, but definitely don't break the bank trying to hunt it down because it is looking a bit elusive. Other than that, very little seems predictable about what to expect here going into this first week, and I'm excited about that. So looking forward to seeing you guys next time, and we'll see what the results look like. Until then, it's been real. It's been awesome. It's been real awesome. Take care.